Chapter 659. Just like that, Xiaofan, black and white child, and fish stem began to fly around the surrounding area. Ibdu, the black and white child's glabella opened up, and the light from the eye of the divine eagle shot out, scanning the area within a 20-mile radius. Meanwhile, Xiaofan unleashed his soul consciousness to the fullest, grasping every single movement within 80 miles. Hearing ants fight. Soul lock. The three of them probed as they flew. Before long, about 60 li away from Xiaofan, a team of immortals appeared on his left. There were more than 100 of them, and they were flying at a low altitude. Right now, they were very excited, and they were arguing fiercely with each other. Xiaofan smiled faintly and immediately shifted his attention. Everyone, now that we've separated from the son of the stars, we don't know what's right or wrong. What's right or wrong? If they followed Master Xingqinzi, they would die sooner or later. Perhaps there was some kind of irreconcilable enmity between Xiaofan and the Son of Star. It was only a matter of time before a battle broke out between Xiaofan and the Son of Stars. You've all seen Xiaofan's methods. Not to mention Xingqinzi, even the most outstanding person in our generation, Jia Lanzi, is no match for Xiaofan. The scariest thing is that so many immortals have perished, but we don't even know how Xiaofan did it. Even so, now that I think about it, what the Son of the Stars said isn't completely unreasonable. It's not like Xiaofan won't kill us. We've parted ways with the Sons of the Stars, but there's no guarantee that Xiaofan won't kill us. After all, we were once allies with the Son of the Stars to deal with Xiaofan. Oh, actually. He hugged the Son of Star tightly. It's not impossible. All right. Stop being overcautious. He was being overcautious. Do you want to turn back? Go back to the Son of the Stars and form an alliance again? Wouldn't that make the Son of the Stars laugh at him? There's no turning back now. Either we hide, or we find Xiaofan and reconcile with him. Damn it. Back in the immortal world, we've always been nurtured and groomed. Even some of the old-timers in the sects have to treat us with respect. We actually have to bow down to a mortal. This is really grieving. What a shame. AI. There's nothing we can do about it. We are the chosen of the heavens, and mortals are the most lowly of things. Pigs, dogs, and ants want us to lower ourselves to curry favor with a mortal. Indeed, for us immortals, this is an enormous humiliation. When I return to the immortal world in the future, I'm also worried that I'll be punished by the sect elders. Yes. This matter concerns the honor of us immortals. If the sect punishes us, it's also reasonable. Sigh. Don't worry about the punishment for now. Just pretend to be polite to Xiaofan and please him as much as possible. Wait until we enter the arena and obtain more fortuitous encounters, then we can deal with Xiaofan. Yes. First, please Xiaofan, make him believe us, and then slowly deal with him. Although he now has the means to kill immortals, mortals are still mortals, and immortals are still immortals. His potential in the later stages is definitely inferior to ours. The exploration of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is progressing step by step. Right now, we're only at the second level. There's still the third level, and the core level, the fourth level. Level after level of training, level after level of fortuitous encounters, and level after level of unlocking potential. I don't believe that Xiaofan can't compare to us in terms of potential and opportunities. Yes. In the second level, we lost to Xiaofan, this lowly mortal. We'll get back at him in the third level. Isn't Xiaofan insufferably arrogant now? Alright, we'll bear with it for now. Wait until our potential is unlocked, or when we obtain even more terrifying treasures. At that time, we'll control Xiaofan. If we want him to die, then he'll die. If we want him to be crippled, then so be it. To us, treasures are an advantage. But to Xiaofan, it's a disadvantage. After all, he's a mortal and can't truly control and refine treasures. Right now, he's walking the path of evil. Let's not talk about the exploration of the third level. I reckon that in the arena after the preliminaries, someone will take care of him. The immortals were discussing among themselves. In fact, although they had decided to draw a clear line between themselves and Xingqianzi and had taken the initiative to seek reconciliation with Xiaofan, these immortals were all proud and arrogant. They looked down on mortals from the depths of their bones. Their intentions were very clear. They wanted to feign civility with Xiaofan first. Once they gained greater strength, they would definitely turn around and deal with Xiaofan. In the end, most immortals would never lower their heads to a mortal. Of course, the actions and words of these immortals were completely under Xiaofan's control. At this moment, Xiaofan was laughing coldly without end. What wishful thinking! First, they tricked me, Xiaofan, and then found a chance to turn against me. TSK, good, very good. Originally, I, Xiaofan, could have spared some immortals' lives. After all, each area can only hold 100 people. The heavens are merciful, so I didn't have to kill all these immortals. But now... Xiaofan's eyes flashed with coldness. Not every immortal is as easy to get along with as Brother Jialan, Heizi, and Yu Yangzi. It seems that most immortals have a strong sense of superiority in their bones. They're forever divided and see mortals as pigs, dogs, cows, sheep, and ants. Since that's the case, I, Xiaofan, can only go on a killing spree and kill all the immortals. In the end, only I, Heizi, and Yu Yangzi will enter the arena in the fourth area. Xiaofan's killing intent grew even more resolute. Big brothers, there's a group of immortals ahead, more than 100 in number. Xiaofan's eyes flashed. Let's charge. Same rules, I'll first kill them until they're crippled, then you two big brothers will finish them off, alright. Yu Yangzi and Heizi laughed. Brother Xiaofan, you lead the charge. We'll follow close behind. I have the divine eagle's eye, so I can observe targets from afar. Light flashed between Heizi's brows. The group of immortals, more than 100 in number, was flying away from the sun of stars. Suddenly. Immortals, what's the matter? Have you severed ties with the sun of stars? Or perhaps you're acting on the sun of stars' orders. Are you out to hunt me? Xiaofan's figure appeared in front of the group of immortals. Xiaofan's black hair fluttered in the wind, his eyes as bright as stars, and his lips curled into a harmless smile. His figure was slightly frail as he stood there. His aura didn't fluctuate in the slightest. It seemed ordinary and unremarkable, but it felt like an ancient well with an unfathomable depth. Xiaofan. The immortals on the other side began to shout. When the 100 immortals saw Xiaofan, their expressions changed in a myriad of ways. This was an instinctive expression and psychological reaction. There was panic, fear, and instant anger. There was killing intent, confusion, and anxiety. There was nervousness, however, after a breath's time, their expressions changed. They turned into smiles. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan. We've been looking for you. Ha ha ha, please don't be hostile toward us. Some of the immortals quickly hid the killing intent and disgust in their eyes and put on extremely polite smiles, as if they were old friends. Oh. Xiaofan said with a teasing smile. I remember that all of you were together with Master Xingqianzi yesterday, threatening to kill me. But today, you're telling me not to be hostile. TSK. Did all of you come up with some plan to kill me? Xiaofan sneered. Of course not. It's all a misunderstanding, Brother Xiaofan, some of the immortals said righteously. Before this, we were tricked and used by the Son of Stars. That's why we formed an alliance with him. Now, we've all come to a sudden realization, and have seen through Master Xingqianzi's ugly face. Don't worry, Brother Xiaofan. We've drawn a clear line between us and the Son of Stars. We're all willing to ally with you and help you deal with the Son of Stars. That's right. We've been sick of the Son of Stars' stubbornness for a long time. Brother Xiaofan, let's enter the arena together. Brother Xiaofan, we're all willing to make friends with you, Immortal. Although there's an insurmountable chasm between mortals and immortals, you're one of the most outstanding mortals. We're all willing to lower ourselves to befriend you. The immortals all began to brag and flatter Xiaofan without restraint, trying their best to befriend him and flatter him. If Xiaofan had heard their conversation beforehand, he would have been too embarrassed to kill them based on his principle of not hitting a smiling person. But now... Ahahaha. Xiaofan's mocking laughter cut through the chatter of the immortals. Oh. The immortals fell silent and turned to look at Xiaofan. The scene was rather quiet. Xiaofan said unhurriedly. Everyone, what you're saying is that you're going to pretend to be courteous with me and flatter me for a while. Then, when you have more fortunate encounters and can control me, you'll slowly torture me and kill me, right? Ha ha ha. As soon as he said that, the immortals' expressions changed drastically. The next moment. This is no good. Attack. Fight. One of the immortals was quick to react. Knowing that he had been exposed, he immediately took out a celestial artifact to attack Xiaofan. At the same time, more than a dozen immortals reacted quickly and took out their immortal artifacts. However, their reactions were slower than Xiaofan's by at least half a beat. Xiaofan's soul and psychic power transformed into weapons to attack was a form of attack based on his thoughts. He didn't need to use any immortal arts or artifacts. It could be said that a soul attack, an attack on one's thoughts, was the fastest kind of attack. Therefore, before the immortals could unleash their attacks, Xiaofan's soul and psychic power daggers had already pierced their limbs and crippled them. For a time, wails of grief, cries of pain, curses, and pleas rose and fell, resounding through the entire space. But the next moment... Boom! Boom! The black-white child and Yu Yangzi rushed out and swung their weapons, easily killing the immortals who'd been crippled by Xiaofan. The chaotic and noisy scene instantly cooled down and turned into silence. The aura of death was drifting in all directions. Another 100 killed. The black-white child looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan's gaze was fixed on the area where the Son of the Stars was, and a smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Son of the Stars, it'll be your turn soon. Meanwhile, Master Xingqianzi and the immortals around him grew nervous again. Hovering in midair, they gazed into the distance at the area where Xiaofan had killed the immortals. Just now, they had also heard waves of tragic wails, and they had also felt the fleeting fluctuations of the battle over there. Big Brother Xingqianzi. Xiaofan. Xiaofan is killing again. The immortals around Xingqianzi murmured despairingly. It's the same as all the other times. It only took a few breaths of time to end the battle. And judging from the ripples of the battle, it was a one-sided slaughter. The immortal who was slaughtered didn't even try to retaliate. Instant kill. Ha 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 ha. The star child threw his head back and roared. Those idiots. Damn it. They're asking for it. Ha ha ha. I told you Xiaofan wouldn't let them go. How dare they leave me? Ha ha ha. How naive. What a bunch of naive fools. They're asking for it. As soon as he finished speaking, splat. 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 100 miles away, in another area, the aftermath of the battle also rose up. They vanished in a flash as well, followed by the agonized cries of many immortals on the brink of death. Another group has died. Master Xingqianzi's body began to tremble as he let out a piercing shriek. Xiaofan. Come on. Come out. I, the Star Child, am right here. Do you dare come out and fight? Let's fight. Don't hide your head and show your tail. Let's fight. Fight to the death. After killing one group of immortals, Xiaofan, the black and white child, and Yu Yangzi soon discovered another group of immortals and killed them. As a result, Xiaofan had killed two groups of immortals in an extremely short amount of time, amounting to nearly 300. As a result, there were only slightly more than 400 immortals left in the fourth zone. To be continued. Chapter 660. Xiaofan slaughtered immortals again and again. He didn't show any mercy at all. Ibdu. Xiaofan knew of the enmity in these immortals' bones. If he didn't kill them today, there would be trouble in the future. That was why these immortals thought themselves clever and tried to sever their ties with Xingqunzi to make peace with Xiaofan. That was a fool's dream, seeking their own deaths. If all the immortals remained united with Xingqunzi, Xiaofan wouldn't be able to make a move. He had to find a way to break them up and kill them one by one. That saved Xiaofan a lot of trouble. Now, apart from the 200 immortals with Xingqunzi, there were only 200 immortals left outside. They were like wandering ghosts. Bang! 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 Dozens of immortals were killed by Xiaohan's soul and mental energy daggers. They were reduced to ashes. Brother Xiaofan, we've also destroyed 3 groups of immortals today. Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi stood at Xiaohan's sides excitedly. In the past few days of fighting against Xingqunzi, the ones who had benefited the most weren't Xiaofan, but Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi. Their points had increased, and they had accumulated more and more treasures in their bodies. Their refinement power was also abundant. Now, each of them had refined a defensive celestial artifact. Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi had refined 2 immortal treasures, one for offense and one for defense. They complemented each other and could both attack and defend at the same time. When I was in the lower realm, I only wanted to gain a little from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Even a few low-quality treasures were great gains. Even if I didn't get anything, I could see the world. I could return to the immortal world alive. It was also a gain. But now, Yu Yangzi was trembling with excitement. He subconsciously patted his dantian. I never imagined that I could obtain so many immortal weapons and magic treasures, spirit pills and immortal medicines, and supreme-grade immortal art manuals. If I return to the immortal world, with these magic treasures, it's enough to start a small sect. Oh. Of course, most of the immortal weapons and magic treasures will be offered to my sect. Alright, Yu Yangzi, don't get carried away. Black-White Child reminded. The exploration is far from over. This is only the second level. The further we go, the more dangerous it will be. This time, we were just lucky to receive Brother Xiaohan's full support. That was why he had such a fortuitous encounter and returned with great rewards. If he hadn't met Brother Xiaofan, we've died a long time ago, and we've become someone else's points. Fish seedlings, it's most important to stay calm. Hearing this, Yu Yangzi immediately replied in a serious manner. Yes, thank you for the reminder, Big Brother He Zi. After a pause, Fish Rib looked at Xiaohan. Brother Xiaohan, are we going to kill the Son of Stars right now? There are still some scattered immortals in the 4th region. Let's get rid of them first, Xiaohan said confidently. In any case, there are still over 10 days until the end of the 4th region's preliminaries. We can still play with that Son of the Stars. Ha 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 ha, Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi laughed out loud. Let's go continue hunting. Xiaohan's psyche power spread out and found that about 70 miles to the west, another team of immortals had appeared. There were a few dozen of them. In the blink of an eye, Xiaohan, Black and White Child, and Yu Yangzi stealthily pounced on them. The process of the massacre was exactly the same as before. Almost as soon as the immortals reacted, Xiaohan's spiritual daggers had already pierced through their immortal bodies. They couldn't resist at all. After the immortals died, all they left behind were their blood-curdling screams and howls of despair. The ones suffering the most were none other than the Son of Stars and the 200 or so immortals around him. As Xiaofan killed the fleeing immortals, the ripples of slaughter and the despairing cries of the immortals reached them from afar. The Son of Stars and the immortals around him could hear them clearly. The death of each immortal caused the Son of Stars and the others to grieve for the loss of their own kind, and their hearts grew increasingly desolate. The Son of Stars' face was as white as a sheet, and his body trembled uncontrollably. Calm down. I have to calm down. I, the Son of Stars, can't lose my composure in this moment of life and death. In this moment of life and death, Xingqianzi forcibly steadied his mind, continuously thinking of a plan to deal with Xiaofan. If I panic, I'll die for sure. I'll be killed by that bastard Xiaofan. I have to think of a way to turn the tide and turn defeat into victory. The Son of Stars lived up to his reputation as one of the best of the younger generation in the world of immortals. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind in a short time. Xiaofan is very fast when he kills. Speed is a huge advantage for him. Moreover, based on the current situation, his attacks can easily break through the defenses of level 2 true immortals. He's fast and can break through defenses. The Son of Stars immediately grasped something in his mind. The reason he can break through defenses is because Xiaofan comes and goes like a shadow. His attacks are too fast. That way, every time he kills an immortal, he can take advantage of the moment they're unprepared. In other words, when Xiaofan attacks, the immortals don't have time to fortify their defenses. That's right. I got it. The Son of Stars' eyes lit up. Regardless of whether Xiaofan attacks us or not, we need to fortify our defenses first. That way, we'll be prepared in advance. No matter how fast Xiaofan's attacks are, he won't be able to break through our defenses in an instant. If Xiaofan can't break through our defenses quickly, we'll have enough time to kill him. Immortals only need 1/10 of a breath to kill mortals. That's more than enough time. The Son of Stars seemed to have regained some of his confidence. Listen up. We won't just sit here and wait for our deaths. We can't just sit here and do nothing. Those who have defensive immortal treasures, summon them at once. Those who don't have defensive immortal treasures, summon your shields. Those who have defensive immortal treasures or talismans in their dantians, refine them with your power of refinement. As soon as he finished speaking, the Son of Stars mobilized his immortal chi and formed a protective barrier around all the immortals present. Of course, maintaining this barrier consumed a huge amount of immortal energy. However, at this moment where life and death hung by a thread, Xingqianzi didn't care about that at all. As he activated the barrier, he took out a bottle of medicinal pills from his ring of holding. They were spirit medicines to replenish his immortal power. The Son of Stars roared. Don't be stingy with your medicinal pills. Don't hesitate to use your immortal power to activate the barrier. Then, replenish your immortal chi and power with spirit medicines at any time. Hold on. The Son of Stars had his own wishful thinking. There were still more than 10 days until the end of the preliminaries. As long as he could hold on until the last day, and as long as he wasn't killed by Xiaofan, he would be able to slaughter some of the immortals around him, leaving only a few dozen people alive. That way, he and Xiaofan would be able to teleport them out of the 4th region and enter the arena. At least they'd be able to survive. Like the Son of Stars, the immortals no longer cared about the consumption of immortal chi and power. Their bodies glowed with immortal light as they summoned their immortal chi barriers. Some summoned defensive immortal armor, while others burned group barrier talismans. Some obeyed Master Xing's instructions and began to gather the power of refinement in their Dantian regions, which they had originally planned to use to refine the immortal tools they desired, and used it to forge defensive immortal talismans. In an instant, the area was completely filled with layers of defensive immortal formations and immortal weapons. The glazed immortal light soared into the sky, causing the space in the area to solidify and harden. It felt like it was impregnable. As a result, the dispirited immortals seemed to have regained their confidence. What a brilliant plan, Big Brother Star. Xiaofan won't be able to break through our defenses so quickly. The immortals burst into laughter. The Son of Stars let out a long sigh of relief, then roared, Xiaofan. Son of a bitch. You lowly son of a bitch. You lowly thing. Come and kill us. Fight me if you have the guts. Xiaofan. Vile creature. For the time being, Xiaofan didn't plan on killing the Son of Stars. He, the black-white children, and Yu Yangzi continued to hunt down the remaining immortals. There were very few immortals in the fourth zone who hadn't joined forces with the Son of Stars. There were only about 200 of them. Moreover, they didn't seem to be very united. They were scattered into many groups and roamed the fourth zone, desperately sending out signals and shouting to reconcile with Xiaofan and get along well with him. They even said a lot of obsequious things to curry favor with Xiaofan. However, Xiaofan wasn't moved at all. He released his soul and psyche to search the area. In just a few hours, all of the scattered immortals were killed by Xiaofan. The entire fourth zone was dead silent. Brother Xiaofan, we've killed all the other immortals except for the Son of Stars group. The black-white children and Yu Yangzi rushed over to Xiaofan's left and right. Brother Xiao, should we fight the Son of Stars to the death now? After a pause, the black-white children frowned slightly. But Brother Xiao, there's something strange going on with the Son of Stars, let's go take a look. With a wave of his hand, Xiaofan flew toward the Son of Stars. The black-white children and Yu Yangzi followed close behind. About 40 kilometers away from the Son of Stars, Xiaofan and the other two came to a stop. It was dusk, and the Son of Stars area was filled with immortal light that resembled fishes and dragons swimming in the sky. The immortal light formed a tight protective barrier. There were also traces of immortal treasures, formations, and burning talismans. What a powerful defense. It's practically impregnable. Yu Yangzi clicked his tongue. This. Brother Xiao, it looks like the Son of Stars intends to defend to the death. The black-white children frowned. He set up a turtle shell. Chapter 661. Apart from Xing Chunzi and the 200 or so immortals around him, the rest of the scattered immortals in the fourth zone had all died at Xiaofan's hands. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The vast fourth zone appeared especially empty and cold, exuding the aura of a grave. This was the grave of immortals. Every inch of space was filled with the heroism, resentment, unwillingness, and ghosts of fallen immortals. In other words, there were originally nearly 40,000 immortals in the fourth region. Such a number of immortals could form a small sect in the immortal world. However, at this moment, such a large number of immortals had withered away, leaving only about 200 people. This really showed the cruelty and tragedy of exploring immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure to the fullest. There was a feeling of natural selection to the extreme. Xiaofan, the black-white child, and Yu Yangzi focused their gazes on where Xing Chunzi and the other immortals were. In the dusk, the area where Xing Chunzi and the other immortals were located was shrouded in an immortal glow. Rays of light were like pillars, magnificent and magnificent. Many defensive auras were being emitted, dyeing the sky in a strange and bizarre manner. Boom! Another ray of godly light burst out from the area, which turned into the shadow of a shield. It was engraved with many immortal formations, all of which were defensive in nature. Oh! Xiaofan nodded slightly as he watched. His soul and psyche rippled over from afar, carefully inspecting the area. I see. Xing Chunzi and the immortals around him are determined to defend to the death. They've all ignited their immortal qi and dispersed their defensive barriers. Some are burning defensive immortal talismans. Some are even summoning defensive immortal treasures. A few immortals are sitting cross-legged, traces of refinement flowing through their bodies. They're probably refining some defensive immortal treasure. Xiaofan had complete control over the situation, as if he were reading the lines on his palm. What a powerful defense! Black-White Child said with focused eyes. Even a level 3 true immortal can't penetrate this defense in an instant. Even a level 4 true immortal couldn't break through the defense in an instant. A level 5 true immortal might be able to, but he couldn't tear it apart in an instant. This son of Xing Qinzi had set up the defense in advance, and had even consumed his immortal chi and immortal power to support the defensive shield. In this way, they would definitely be hiding like turtles. Being forced to this extent by Brother Xiaofan, this kind of thing. Once news of this reaches the world of immortals, the heavenly court will be shaken and the immortal emperors will be watching. Yu Yangzi murmured. Burning immortal energy to raise up a defensive barrier is a huge consumption. Brother Xiaofan, even if we don't take the initiative to attack, they'll run out of immortal energy sooner or later. At that time, they won't be able to use their immortal items anymore. Otherwise, we'll just wait for them to run out of immortal chi. There were still more than 10 days until the end of the 4th zone's preliminaries. It wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. Even if Xing Qinzi and the others had medicinal pills to replenish immortal power and immortal treasures, they had to consume immortal chi to set up defenses at all times. Their demand for medicinal pills must be terrifying. Sooner or later, they'll run out of pills, immortal chi, and food. It's wishful thinking to defend to the death. Black-White Child nodded repeatedly when he heard Yu Yangzi's words. Brother Xiao, there's no hurry. We can either wait for Xing Qinzi and the others to run out of resources, or wait for them to relax and reveal a hole in their defenses. We have plenty of time anyway, heh. Xiaofan rubbed his nose and smiled faintly. Of course I'm not in a hurry. However, I won't waste time with them today. I'll rest for the night and come back tomorrow morning to plot to kill Xing Qinzi. In short, Xing Qinzi is dead for sure. No matter what tricks he uses, I'll kill him. Then, Xiaofan, Black-White Child, and Yu Yangzi found a random valley, lit a bonfire, and rested. Of course, the place they chose was close to Xing Qinzi and within Xiaofan's range of surveillance. Therefore, he could keep track of Xing Qinzi's every move at any time. Over at Xing Qinzi's side. Boom! 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 Immortal light surged. Every immortal had dragon and phoenix immortal chi rippling on their bodies, rolling and steaming. Gulp! 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 Gritting his teeth, Xing Qinzi took out medicinal pills to replenish his lost immortal chi and popped them into his mouth. Let's see if Xiaofan dares to come after us with our defenses. After a brief pause, a vicious gleam appeared in Master Xing Qinzi's eyes. Even if Xiaofan attacks from a distance, outside of the range of our immortal sense, I'll still be able to locate him in a split second. That way, I'll be able to unleash my offensive immortal tool, Shatter Space, and kill Xiaofan from a distance. Xing Qinzi looked at the immortals whose immortal auras were gradually dimming and shouted. All of you, take the medicinal pills to replenish the loss of immortal energy. Don't be reluctant to use it. Fortify the defense. Reinforce the defense at all times. The immortals took out pills from their storage rings and swallowed them as well. However, some of the immortals wept bitterly. Big Brother Xing Qinzi, these medicinal pills are extremely precious. We don't have many with us. If we keep using them like this, I'm afraid. Besides, it's a huge drain on our defensive immortal tools. That's right, Big Brother Xing Qinzi. We're burning our immortal chi to reinforce the defense at all times. Most importantly, we don't have enough medicinal pills to last until the last day of the preliminaries. There's no way we can last until the end. What we fear the most is that Xiaofan won't attack us at all. If that happens, he'll be invincible. Once we run out of immortal chi, he'll come and reap our lives with ease. The immortals began to clamor. Shut up, all of you. Master Xing Qinzi growled with a dark expression. I know what you're talking about, Xing Qinzi said. But Xiaofan is unstoppable. You know it too. Those immortals who left us. Xiaofan killed every single one of them. If we don't set up defenses in advance, we'll be dead for sure. We have no choice but to take a gamble. There's no other way. After a pause, Master Xing Qinzi looked up at the sparse stars in the sky and murmured, the immortal emperor is watching over us. I hope Xiaofan will attack as soon as possible and fight to the death with us. Early the next morning, Xiaofan, the black and white children, and Yu Yangzi hovered in the air. They were observing the sons of stars. In fact, even though Xiaofan had been resting throughout the night, he had spared some of his attention to keep an eye on the son of the stars at all times. He. As expected. Xiaofan nodded with a smile. The sons of stars and the others have maintained their best defense for the entire night. They haven't relaxed at all. It seems they're going to defend to the death. After a pause, Xiaofan's lips curled into a devilish smile. I believe that they must be feeling extremely anxious in their hearts. They hope that I will be able to charge through and fight with them. The black and white children also smiled. That's right, brother Xiaofan. The longer you don't attack, the more their immortal qi will be consumed. They're in a completely disadvantageous situation. Forget it, Xiaofan said with a smile. Let the sons of stars and the others worry for a few more days. Let them suffer. Brothers, let's rest for a few days. We won't take the initiative to attack during this time. The black and white children and Yu Yangzi both laughed. Alright, let's torture the sons of stars a little. As expected, Xiaofan and the others bided their time for the entire day. Meanwhile, on the sons of stars side. At night. Why isn't Xiaofan attacking? Why isn't Xiaofan attacking us? Xiaofan seems to have seen through our plan. He knows we're consuming our immortal qi. As expected, the immortals were growing more and more anxious and tormented. The son of stars trembled with fear. How many more days can we hold out? How many more days can we hold out with our resources? Xiaofan, why aren't you attacking? Are we destined to die here? I refuse to accept this. I, the son of stars, am a peerless genius. Even an immortal emperor once praised me. I came to immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure to temper myself and build a foundation for my breakthrough to the immortal emperor realm. I can't die like this. The Tao of heaven won't allow me to die at the hands of a mortal. However, no matter how anxious the sons of stars and the other immortals were, Xiaofan didn't move at all. For the next few days, Xiaofan, the black and white children, and Yu Yangzi passed their days with ease, completely ignoring the sons of stars' movements. They merely observed, and didn't take the initiative to attack. Over the past few days, Xiaofan had also noticed that the sons of the stars and the others hadn't let their guard down even for a moment. Their immortal qi remained at its peak, and showed no signs of withering. Of course, this exuberance was a false phenomenon. The more exuberant it was, the more it meant that the sons of stars and the other immortals were consuming more and closer to death. There were only 11 days left until the end of the preliminaries. Finally, the sons of stars couldn't hold it in any longer. He knew that they could hold out for another 2 days at most. The medicinal pills that more than 200 immortals had brought with them to replenish their immortal qi were about to run out. What do we do, big brother stars? What do we do now? This is bad. We're running out of immortal qi. The day we run out of immortal qi is the day Xiaofan attacks. Disaster is upon us. Big brother stars, we're on the brink of annihilation. The immortals were terrified. All of them were on the verge of tears. Arg! Shut up. The sons of stars were on the verge of going berserk. Now, scold them all. Curse Xiaofan. Curse him. Cursing and cursing in the vilest language. Provoke Xiaofan into action. Curse him. In the face of death, this mighty genius from the immortal world had come up with such a strategy that completely lost his bearing as an immortal. Soon, the sons of stars were the first to throw their heads back and roar. Xiaofan. You son of a bitch. You lowly ant. Scum. You're cowardly and petty. You're pathetic. Do you dare to fight me? If you don't, you're worse than a pig or a dog. The sons of stars' eyes were bloodshot, and he had lost all rationality. Upon hearing Master Xing Qinzi's words, the immortals under his command also let loose a torrent of vulgar words that sounded like street slang. Xiaofan, you son of a bitch. Xiaofan. You son of a bitch. Xiaofan. I curse your descendants, generation after generation, to be the most lowly, filthiest things. Men are thieves and women are prostitutes. Curses came one after another. Shockingly. Right at that moment, a saber light flashed across the sky. The shadow of a primordial dragon could be seen in the saber light. It could destroy the 9 provinces, crush the stars, and sweep through the world. A domineering pressure of the saber Tao descended from the sky. It could crush the heavens. Heh. I'd planned to let you guys live for a few more days, but since you're so eager to die, I'll get rid of you in advance. Do you think you can stop me, Xiaofan, with that little bit of defense? Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan's voice came from afar, pressing down on them. All around, there was an abrupt silence. The immortals' curses came to an abrupt halt. It was as if they'd been suppressed by a tremendous pressure. Xiaofan had finally appeared. All of you must die. To be continued. Chapter 662. Xing Qinzi and the other 200 immortals burned their immortal qi to create defensive barriers and artifacts. It took a lot of energy to set up an impenetrable defense, ready to fight to the death with Xiaofan. However, Xiaofan still hadn't shown up. Their resources were running low by the day. In the last moments, Xing Qinzi and the other immortals lost all their poise and cursed Xiaofan, hoping to provoke him into showing himself. Of course, they didn't have much confidence in the goading method. Even Xing Qinzi himself thought, given Xiaofan's craftiness, he won't be provoked into accepting the challenge. However, just as Xing Qinzi and the other immortals were having the most fun, Xiaofan showed up. Xiao saber light flashed. Xiaofan was already several hundred meters away from Xing Qinzi and the other immortals. Xiaofan and the immortals were facing off. The immortals who'd been cursing Xiaofan immediately fell silent and gaped at him. They hadn't expected Xiaofan to really show up. And now, Xiaofan. With a thought, Xiaofan withdrew the domineering saber aura into the solidified psychic power planet in his sea of consciousness. All of a sudden, Xiaofan's body became extremely calm and stable. Xiaofan looked indifferently at Xing Qinzi and the others. Of course, the solidified psychic power planet in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness was highly condensed. His natal saber aura had evolved into a primordial dragon. With a single thought from Xiaofan's mind, the saber aura would follow Xiaofan's thoughts and slash forward. The boots of speed on his feet were also ready to go at any time. In reality, Xiaofan wasn't provoked into charging over recklessly. Xiaofan was well aware that his soul and mental power had transformed into a dagger. Its ultimate attack power could instantly kill an unsuspecting level 2 true immortal. However, Master Xing Qinzi and the other immortals had set up a tortoise shell in advance. This way, the soul and mental power dagger would lose its advantage in sneak attacks and would not be able to break through the layers of defense. If Xiaofan's trump card had only been his psychic daggers and his speed, he wouldn't have been provoked to reveal himself. He would have waited until Master Xing and the other immortals ran out of energy, then come out and start a massacre. But Xiaofan's strongest trump card was Saber Qi. He had obtained a little bit of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Dao of the Blade. Saber Qi after transforming into a dragon. For Xiaofan, the lethality of the saber chi and saber intent was definitely greater than the soul mind dagger. When Xiaofan absorbed all the mental energy in the solid mental energy star and infused it into his life saber chi, he slashed out. Even Xiaofan did not dare to imagine the might of this attack. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Dao of the Blade was immortal and supreme. It was a Dao of the Blade that could destroy all techniques. It was a Dao that could ignore all defenses and kill with one strike. Xiaofan was confident that he could use his natal saber chi to slay these despicable immortals. He hadn't made a move earlier not to wear down Master Xing Qinzi and the other immortals' immortal chi, but just to amuse them. Master Xing Qinzi, Xiaofan said coolly. I thought that immortals should have a transcendent demeanor, aloof from worldly affairs, and free to ride cranes. But I was wrong. You immortals are like a bunch of dogs. Mad dogs. Ha ha ha, you still want to bite me? I was just teasing you a few days ago. Ha ha ha. Did you really think that I couldn't break through your so-called impregnable defense? What a joke. Since you don't want to play anymore, then let it all end. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The final battle will end with the death of you immortals, and I, Xiaofan, will tread on the corpses of immortals to emerge from the fourth region's preliminaries and enter the arena. Ha 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 ha. The Master Xing Qinzi suddenly burst into thunderous laughter. This laughter was extremely hysterical and crazy. It was as if all the anger, hatred, fear, and panic that had accumulated in his heart had been vented to his heart's content. Xiaofan. Ha ha ha. You're so stupid. Our immortal chi was about to run out. If you'd hold up for a few more days and waited until we ran out of food and ammunition, you could have easily killed us. But you, ha ha ha, you're still lacking in shrewdness. You couldn't take the provocation and charged out. Xiaofan, you're dead for sure. You don't know how to endure. Heh, Xiaofan laughed indifferently. Shrewdness? Patience? Yes, I'll endure when I'm not strong enough. But now that I'm strong enough to kill you, why should I? I, Xiaofan, am not one to beat around the bush. Shut up. The Master Xing Qinzi's expression turned cold. Xiaofan, you're not only stupid, you're also too conceited. You're just a mortal, yet you're threatening to kill hundreds of immortals right in front of our faces. Ha ha ha. How ridiculous. Xiaofan, you've been killing immortals with sneak attacks. You've been using all sorts of despicable methods, like a thief. You think I don't know that your method of killing immortals relies on the speed of your attacks to kill immortals in an instant? But if the immortals set up defenses in advance, you won't be able to do anything. Now, we have more than 200 immortals here, and we're all on the defensive. We're huddled together, and our defenses are at their peak. Even if a level 5 true immortal were to descend, he wouldn't be able to break through our defenses so easily. Xiaofan, it's not that I, the Master Xing Qinzi, am looking down on you, but there's no way a mortal's attack can surpass a level 5 true immortals. Ha 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 Xiaofan, we can kill you in the blink of an eye. Now, we'll let you attack first. Ha ha ha, when your attacks fail, that's when you'll die. At that moment, Xiao wisps of immortal glow were fired and locked onto Xiaofan's figure. Even if Xiaofan immediately used his speed to escape, he would still be instantly attacked by the immortals. However, Xiaofan's figure did not move at all. It seemed like he had no intention of escaping. Currently, Xiaofan was all alone, hovering in the air with his hands empty. There was not the slightest ripple of energy coming from his body, not even a hint of killing intent. Meanwhile, on the Master Xing Qinzi side, the immortals had unleashed all sorts of immortal lights, immortal weapons, and immortal talismans. Layers upon layers of illusionary light formed a cocoon of light. It was extremely difficult to penetrate the cocoon of light. It was almost the perfect defense. The immortals inside the cocoon of light had gained some confidence. Initially, Xiaofan was like a ghost when he slaughtered immortals. It was extremely strange, and it became the source of the Immortals' fear. Now that Xiaofan had shown up, the Immortals felt a sense of superiority. Indeed, Xiaofan looked like an ordinary mortal martial artist. It was hard to imagine that a mortal like him could pose a threat to Immortals. Xiaofan. You've slaughtered Immortals, and now, your path has come to an end. You'll be beheaded and executed. Xiaofan. You've killed so many Immortals, it's too many to count. Killing you today will be letting you off easy. But don't worry, once we get out of here, we'll kill all the mortals related to you. They'll be joining you soon enough. Xiaofan, come and attack me. I'd like to see how you're going to break through our defenses. Not far away, the black and white suns and Yu Yangzi were hovering in the air. Their hearts were completely tensed up. They were suffocating with nervousness. Big Brother Black and White, do you think Brother Xiaofan can kill the Sons of Stars and the others? After all, the defenses of the Sons of Stars and the others are too solid. The Black and White Suns looked into the distance. Brother Xiaofan is a strange person. His performance in the fourth zone is perfect. Even Big Brother Jia Lanzi couldn't do what Brother Xiaofan has done. Brother Xiaofan has complete control over the fourth zone. I believe that Brother Xiaofan only attacked because he's confident. Let's wait and see if Brother Xiaofan can create another miracle. Xiaofan. Come at me. The Sons of Stars bared their fangs and laughed wildly. The moment you attack is the moment of your death. Ha ha ha. I've treated you well, haven't I? I'll let you die at the most intense moment of your life. Ha ha ha. Come at me. A faint smile tugged at the corner of Xiaohan's mouth. In his sea of consciousness, the solid mental power planets suddenly condensed. All the mental strength gushed out like a tide, and the natal saber chi swallowed all the mental strength like a whale drawing water. As a result, the natal saber energy became incomparably powerful. Whoosh 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 whoosh, streaks of sharp saber chi gushed out from the pores and cells of Xiaohan's body. In an instant, a funnel-shaped aura field was formed. Under the influence of this aura field, the air and space in the surroundings were completely squeezed out, forming a vacuum zone. Xiaohan's black hair moved despite the absence of wind. His aura went from calm to dazzling. His eyes were like a sovereign descending upon the world. Not good. Something's wrong. The Sons of Stars suddenly felt a premonition of imminent danger. It was a kind of intuition. Moreover, the saber energy flowing out of Xiaohan's body was formless and tangible. It pierced through the light cocoons of the Immortals and cut into their bodies, sending chills down their spines. Kill. Attack. There's something strange about this Xiaofan. The Sons of Stars let out a wail as if their parents had died. He took out the Taiji symbol and prepared to attack Xiaofan. He didn't dare let Xiaofan make the first move. In the blink of an eye. Die, all of you. Xiaofan let out a roar. Rumble. A thick saber chi directly blasted out from between Xiaohan's eyebrows. The saber energy twisted a few times and transformed into a primordial dragon, covered in thick scales and emitting a terrifying, domineering aura of the great wilderness. Like a living creature, it tore through a group of Immortals and devoured everything in its path. The saber energy turned into a dragon. After transforming into a dragon, the saber energy contained an unparalleled truth of Saber Dao. It contained the legacy of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Vortexes of saber energy filled the world. Time and space seemed to have frozen. Saber energy flashed. The dragon-shaped saber energy tore through the defensive light cocoons of Xing Chunzi and the other Immortals. The next moment. Pft. 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 Under the control of Xiaohan's mind and soul, the dragon-shaped saber energy instantly disintegrated into tens of thousands of saber beams, which slashed down on the bodies of Xing Chunzi and the other Immortals. Bang! 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 One by one, the immortals exploded like fireworks, their immortal bodies shattered. Xiaofan, you monster! Ah! The sons of stars howled in pain as their immortal bodies were cut into thousands of pieces. Dead. The sons of stars were dead. To be continued, S. Chapter 663. Xiaofan had finally unleashed his trump card. A dragon formed from saber chi that contained Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's saber Dao. This was the first time Xiaofan had used this slash against an enemy. It was a slash that contained all his comprehension of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's jade plate of inheritance, as well as the power of his soul and mind. Even Xiaofan himself had no idea how powerful this slash would be. However, when Xiaofan slashed out with his saber, he completely forgot about himself and his surroundings. His heart was filled with the stubbornness and dominance of the saber. There was no turning back. There was no turning back. One slash killed 100 immortals. The Son of Stars had fallen. The 200 immortals around the Son of Stars had fallen as well. The death of the immortals caused the immortal energy shields they had erected to crumble. Even some of the immortal items they had summoned were damaged, and were now ownerless, falling to the ground in all directions. The huge area was filled with colorful lights and colorful auras. It was a spectacular sight. At the same time, whoosh whoosh whoosh, countless points, immortal weapons, and power of refinement surged into Xiaohan's body. Xiaohan's points rose at a speed visible to the naked eye. More and more treasures appeared in his dantian. The power of refinement gathered too, forming a magnificent, gentle, and flawless river. The power of refinement reached a certain part of Xiaohan's dantian, allowing him to draw it out for his own use. However, Xiaofan was not in a hurry to use the power of refinement to break through the jade plate of inheritance. The power of refinement required for the jade plate of inheritance was too enormous. A tiny bit of it would be like a drop in the ocean, and would not be able to break through the layers of will and divine sense on the surface of the jade plate of inheritance. Therefore, Xiaofan had to accumulate. He had to accumulate enough power of refinement. The points above Xiaohan's head had already reached 311 million. With such a score, not to mention taking first place in the 4th region, even among the 10 major regions, it would definitely be second to none, and no one would be able to match it. More than 30,000 treasures were operating in his dantian. There were all kinds of magic treasures. Once Xiaofan ascended and became an immortal, he could use the magical treasures stored in his dantian to establish a small sect and recruit countless young immortals. Of course, the immortal weapons and dharma treasures in Xiaohan's body couldn't be considered Xiaohan's. If Xiaohan's body was destroyed by other immortals in the upcoming exploration, all the dharma treasures would fall out. Phew, the 4th area's qualifiers have finally ended. Xiaofan let out a long sigh of relief. Next, it's the arena competition. I wonder if Brother Jialan, Sect Master, and the other senior brothers have distinguished themselves in their respective areas. I hope to see them soon. After fighting for so many days in the 4th region, when the dust finally settled, Xiaofan really wanted to see his friends and family. However, all of a sudden, Xiaohan's body trembled and his vision went black. The tide-like tiredness and weakness instantly assaulted him. Xiaofan couldn't stand still and fell straight down. Oh no, that slash just now exhausted all of my soul and mental strength. I'm completely exhausted. Xiaofan cursed inwardly. He looked inside himself and found that the solid mental power star was shriveled and condensed into a small ball. It was extremely dim. At this moment, Brother Xiaofan, Black-White and Yu Yangzi rushed over at the first moment. Black-White hurried over to support Xiaofan. The two immortals swept their gazes and found the sky full of broken corpses of immortals. They were extremely shocked. Xing Chunzi and the other immortals were instantly killed by Brother Xiaofan. This. Yu Yangzi's face was pale from shock. Alright, Yu Yangzi, don't be long-winded. Take care of brother Xiaofan first. Black-White said immediately. However, Black-White's voice was also trembling and hoarse. He couldn't keep calm at all. Supported by Black-White and Yu Yangzi, Xiaofan heaved a sigh of relief. He immediately took out the bottle of psychic great mending pills, took out a few of them, and swallowed them. As soon as the pills entered his mouth, they turned into a torrent that surged into Xiaohan's sea of consciousness and nourished the shriveled solid mental power star. Xiaohan's spirit rose slightly. He said hastily, "Don't worry, big brothers. I'm just a bit exhausted. That move just now squeezed out all of my psychic power and used up all of my natal saber chi. But it doesn't matter. I only need to take the psychic great mending pills and rest for a few days." "Alright, brother Xiaofan," Black-White said hastily. "You're invincible. You killed all the immortals in the 4th region and won the battle against the Xingqianzi. You only exhausted your psychic power. Just rest for a few days. There's still some time before the 4th region's preliminaries end." At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice suddenly rang out, "Adventurers of the 4th region, after 100 days of fighting and competition, you've finally survived. Oh, there are only 3 adventurers. How cruel. I didn't think that the 4th region would be the cruelest among the 10 regions. Only 3 out of 100 places. How tragic. However, the benefits that the 3 of you have obtained are also extremely great. Each of you have obtained more points, magical equipment, and refining power than the adventurers from other regions. Now, there are only 11 days left until the end of the preliminaries. You can choose whether you want to leave the 4th region immediately or rest for a few days." As soon as he finished speaking, boom! A spatial portal flickering with ancient patterns immediately appeared in the void above the 4th region. "Big brothers," Xiaohan said with a relaxed expression, "once we pass through this spatial portal, we'll be able to leave the 4th region and enter the next round of the matches." His sea of consciousness continued to absorb energy from the psychic great mending pills, and his psychic power began to recover. "There's no hurry. We'll leave after brother Xiaohan has finished recuperating," Black and White Tiger and Yu Yangzi said in unison. Xiaohan nodded slightly. Thus, the 3 of them found a beautiful place with green mountains and clear waters, and rested quietly. Xiaohan sat cross-legged under a pine tree. His whole body was surrounded by psychic power, and he put psychic great mending pills into his mouth one by one. A few days later, outside the 4th region, 10 ancient platforms were suspended in the sky above the endless abyss. At this moment, there were either mortals or immortals standing on 9 of the 10 platforms. These were the candidates from the 9 regions that had emerged from the preliminaries of the 10 regions and entered the arena. Jia Lanzi, Tao Tai, Wu ***, Yen Lang, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling. They were all standing on their respective platforms. Now, only the 4th platform was empty. This indicated that the preliminaries of the 4th region had not ended yet. At that moment, on the platforms filled with immortals and mortals, some people were staring at the empty 4th platform and whispering to each other. Some were sitting cross-legged, and the light of refinement rose from their bodies. They could not help but show joy on their faces. These people were refining the magic treasures stored in their dantians. The competition in the preliminaries was too intense, and every second counted. As a result, some mortals and immortals didn't even have time to activate their refining power, so they had to refine their Dharma treasures one after another. Now that they were about to enter the arena, they had to seize the time to refine the Dharma treasures they fancied, in order to master more power. Boom! 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 Streaks of magnificent multicolored and immortal light shot up into the sky. Ha ha ha! Finally! I've successfully refined the 2nd immortal weapon. I've already controlled 4 immortal weapons, and my combat power is unimaginable. I'm not afraid of any opponent in the arena. Ha ha ha! Within each ray of immortal light was an immortal weapon, floating and sinking. A large number of immortals and a small number of mortals were controlling the immortal weapons one after another. As for Jia Lanzi, Tao Mei, Wu Yu, and the others, their attention was completely focused on the fourth platform, and they were rapidly communicating with each other. Why hasn't junior brother Xiaofan come out yet? There are only a few days left before the preliminaries end. The fourth platform is still quiet. What's going on? Xiao Mingchu was burning with anxiety. Jia Lanzi was also full of worry. Brother Xiao is almost certainly in the fourth region, but the days are passing, and if Brother Xiao still can't break out of the encirclement, when the time limit is up, everyone will be wiped out. At the same time, some other immortals and mortals were discussing the empty fourth platform. The competition in the fourth region is too fierce, isn't it? The other 9 regions have already decided on the spots, so we, the victors, were sent out in advance. Even in the fourth region, there are still fierce battles. You can imagine the intensity of the battles, it's unimaginable. I heard that the mortal Xiaofan has snuck into the fourth region with tens of thousands of immortals. I'm afraid the so-called number 1 mortal genius is doomed. There are only 5 days left before the 100 days of the preliminaries end. In my opinion, the fourth region is likely to be wiped out. Why do you care so much? Killing all the immortals in the fourth region, including the mortal Xiaofan, will only bring us benefits and no harm. I can't wait to participate in the arena. Ahaha. In the preliminaries, I've had many fortuitous encounters. When I reach the next level of the arena, I'll be like a fish in water, reaping endless rewards. Yes. I've only refined 3 of the thousands of treasures in my body, and the rest require a huge amount of refining power. Now I can't wait to participate in the arena and fight to obtain more refining power. 4 days until the end of the preliminaries. 3 days until the end of the preliminaries. 2 days until the end of the preliminaries. Inside the fourth region. Ha ha ha. Brothers, after recuperating these days, I've consumed many great spirit-nourishing pills. Now, I've perfectly replenished the spirit strength that I've lost, allowing my solid spirit star to reach its peak state. Xiaofan said joyfully. Yes, in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness, the withered solid mind power planet was now full and round. It had regained its glorious, glass-like luster, flawless and flawless. This caused Xiaofan's entire mental appearance to be renewed, as if he had been reborn. Brother Xiaofan, let's go out now. Black White and Yu Yangzi said eagerly, standing on Xiaofan's left and right. Let's go. Brothers, let's go out. To the arena. Xiaofan said in high spirits. Although the immortals participating in the arena are all outstanding and have refined powerful magic treasures and immortal weapons, why should I, Xiaofan, be afraid? Go out. Chapter 664. After consuming a series of mind-replenishing pills, Xiaofan's listless, solid mind power star in his sea of consciousness finally recovered its vitality. It was brimming with vitality. In this way, Xiaofan, Heibai Zi, and Yulang Zi finally passed through the space door 1 day before the end of the preliminaries, and officially entered the arena. At the same time, no matter if it was the immortals or mortals who were discussing animatedly on the 9 platforms, or the immortals or mortals who were refining their magic treasures, all of them stopped abruptly at this moment, and their eyes lit up like torches as they looked towards the fourth platform. The originally empty fourth platform was now shrouded in immortal light, and runes fluttered in the air. A misty portal appeared. It seemed that someone was about to pass through the distorted air. The fourth zone's preliminaries were finally over. The slots for the arena had been decided. All of a sudden, the mortals and immortals on the 9 platforms couldn't help but exclaim and hiss, "They're out. They're finally out. After so many days of waiting, the fourth zone's competition is finally over. Those fellows in the fourth region really know how to seize the time." Seeing that the deadline for the preliminaries is approaching, I thought that all the explorers in the fourth region would be wiped out. TSK, in the end, they still came out, good. The 4th zone's preliminaries are over, and 100 slots have been decided. This means that the arena will officially begin. I can't wait. I've been looking forward to the arena for a long time. Now let's see which 100 immortals in the 4th zone will get a slot. I heard that Xing Chunzi is in the 4th zone. Given his strength and methods, he'll get a slot. It's a done deal. Besides, judging from the points, Xing Chunzi is likely to be first in the 4th zone. He'll have an advantage in the upcoming arena. Yes, there's no doubt that Xing Chunzi will get a slot. There's a mortal in the 4th zone. He's the only one among the 10 zones with immortals, Xiaofan. I don't know if he'll stand out, but I think it's unlikely. Maybe he's already fallen in the 4th zone. While these immortals and mortals were talking noisily, everyone related to Xiaofan had their hearts in their throats. Brother Xiao. Jia Lanzi narrowed his eyes and extended his immortal sense. His lips trembled slightly. Wu Hu, Xiao Mingchu, and the rest were completely suffocated, their minds about to explode. They subconsciously clasped their hands together. He secretly prayed. The 4th region's qualifier is finally over. Which supreme experts would be able to enter the following arena battles? The mystery was about to be revealed. Xiaofan. Don't let anything happen to you. You must come out, 9 regions. The 9 platforms all fell into silence. Be it immortals or mortals, all of their eyes were bulging out. He stared at the 4th platform without blinking. The scene was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Finally, from the 4th platform's spatial portal, the first person slowly walked out. Illusory lights and shadows, multicolored lights. It's coming out. Countless immortals and mortals cried out in alarm. Finally, on the 4th platform, the glowing figure stabilized and revealed itself. Black and white pieces. The first to come out was the black and white immortal. Immediately, some of the immortals on the 9 platforms who recognized the black and white immortals let out all sorts of voices, ha ha ha. Congratulations, black and white brothers. Congratulations on breaking through the encirclement and entering the arena battles. This black and white immortal's strength is only average among the young immortals of our generation, yet he was able to fight his way out of the 4th region. TSK, look at the 400,000 points hovering above his head. Such a large number of points means that he fought his way out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of bones. It wasn't a fluke, black and white brothers. Jia Lanzi called out loudly. Wu Hu, Xiao Mingchu, and the rest shouted impatiently. Immortal black and white immortal, Xiaofan is in the 4th region, right? Did he also survive and obtain a spot in the arena battles? Oh, black and white immortal paused. Before he could answer, another person walked out of the spatial portal. The light was chaotic. After it stabilized, the figure of Fish Cripple appeared. Ha 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 ha, I'm finally out. Once Fish Seedling came out, his face was filled with an expression of relief. He looked around with a silly smile and immediately found Jia Lanzi, Tao Mei, and other acquaintances, and shouted. Big brother Jia Lanzi, big brother Tao Mei, big brother Shi Yangzi. Ha ha, you guys came out too? That was great. That's really great. Once Fish Seedling came out, the entire audience immediately erupted in boos. No way. Even Fish Seedling, who's not that strong and came from a small sect in the immortal world, obtained a spot in the arena battles. Fish Seedling is just a guy with average talent, and he also obtained a spot in the 4th region? It seems that the competition in the 4th region isn't as fierce as we thought. If Fish Seedling can obtain a spot, who knows, those who come out from the 4th region next will all be trash. After seeing Fish Seedling come out, even Tao Mei, Jia Lanzi, and other good friends of Fish Seedling exchanged glances. Their gazes were a little confused. Seriously speaking, even Jia Lanzi, in all fairness, did not believe that Fish Seedling had the hard strength to stand out from tens of thousands of immortals. This. Tao Mei shook his head slightly and smiled. No matter what, it's good that he came out. Brother Jialanzi, let's also send our blessings. Wait. Suddenly, Jialanzi's gaze focused. At this moment, on the 4th region's platform, a third person came out. It was Xiaofan. After being called out for thousands of times, he finally came out. Xiaofan finally came out from the 4th region. Everyone's gazes gathered and looked at Xiaofan without blinking. And when Xiaofan came out, the first thing he did, it was also to observe. Xiaofan used his soul and mental power. Like a fishing net, it covered out. Investigate. At this time, Xiaofan was extremely nervous. Because when he came out, he discovered that the other 9 regions had already decided the spots for the arena battles. In other words, whether the sect master and his senior brothers were dead or alive was already known. Xiaofan was also worried. He was afraid that something would happen to his friends and family, and they would not be able to survive. However, in the blink of an eye, Xiaohan's taut heart relaxed. It's okay. Xiaohan's soul and mental power found Wu Yu, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling, Yen Lang. Almost all the mortals who were related to him survived. They got the spots. Great. Xiaohan's mind was completely excited. Looking at the mortals who came from his plane, the vast majority. At this moment, they were standing on the various platforms. Many elders and senior heroes had survived, and only a small number were absent. Moreover, most of the immortals who came to his plane, led by Jialanzi, had survived. Xiaofan. On the other side, Wu Yu laughed wildly and shouted, losing his composure. Ha ha ha. Good boy. Really heaven-defying. To compete with so many immortals and still survive. Ha ha ha. You made us worry for you for a long time. Junior brother Xiaofan is really brave. Xiao Mingchu and the others also let out a long sigh of relief. Xiaohan's slaves also cheered. Jialanzi laughed loudly. Brother Xiao, amazing, very amazing. At the same time, the other immortals and mortals also whispered to each other after a short period of shock, no way? Xiaofan also came out. Mortals. A mortal actually defeated so many immortals and ranked in the top 100 in the 4th zone. Heaven-defying, absolutely heaven-defying. In any case, there must be tens of thousands of immortals in the 4th zone. With a survival rate of 1 in 100, I wonder how Xiaofan got the spot. Forget it, don't worry so much. Let's look at the 4th zone. The next people who come out will definitely all be immortals. The Son of Stars should be among them. These immortals and mortals were extremely shocked by Xiaohan's appearance. However, their attention was quickly diverted from Xiaofan to focus on the immortals who came out of the 4th region. On the platform, Xiaofan was already laughing and greeting Jialanzi, Wu Yu, and the others, exchanging pleasantries and laughing. Ha ha ha. Brother Jialanzi, sect leader, senior brothers, elders of our plane, hero Fiend, we meet again. It hasn't been easy. Ha ha ha. This is great, everyone is still alive. This is the best. Whether or not we gain anything, as long as we're alive, that's the best. It's also a kind of training for the soul. Xiaohan had wanted to rush to the platform where his friends and family were and meet them up close, but there seemed to be some restriction between each platform that prevented Xiaohan from passing through. Thus, Xiaohan could only stay on his platform and ramble on like a chatterbox, causing a ruckus, and yet. Time passed, second by second. Aside from Xiaohan, He and Yu Yangzi, no other immortals came out of the 4th zone. The immortals and mortals on the other 9 platforms all stared incredulously. Why aren't they coming out yet? There are 100 spots in each of the 10 zones, but only 3 spots have appeared in the 4th zone. There are still 97 spots left. Why haven't they come out yet? The immortals were puzzled. They waited. They waited for another few hundred breaths. The spatial portal on the fourth zone's platform was still silent. There was no movement at all. At this moment, something's wrong. An immortal suddenly screamed. Look, there's 11 million points hovering above Xiaofan's head. The combined points of He and Yu Yangzi are close to 1 million. In other words, the three of them have killed nearly 40,000 immortals. Could it be that only Xiaofan, He and Yu Yangzi are left in the fourth zone, the other immortals have been killed by them? With that, all the immortals and mortals began to notice the points hovering above Xiaofan, He and Yu Yangzi's heads. The scene was deathly silent again. Suddenly, Hong, the spatial teleportation door on the fourth region's platform suddenly closed. As expected. As expected. Only the three of them are left in the fourth zone. Xiaofan has 11 million points above his head. He killed tens of thousands of immortals. Roar. He's insane. This guy is insane. To be continued. Chapter 665. Xiaofan, Black-White Z, and Yu Yangzi exited the fourth platform spatial portal. After a long time, the spatial portal closed. No more immortals were teleported out. Moreover, the immortals and mortals of the other platforms quickly discovered important clues. Points. Golden points floated above Xiaofan's head. A total of 11 million points. According to the rules announced by Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, in the 10 regions preliminaries, immortals would kill each other. Killing an immortal would earn 100 points. As for mortals, killing a mortal would earn 10 points. In other words, Xiaofan's enormous points were created by the lives of more than 30,000 immortals. One mortal could cause the deaths of tens of thousands of immortals. This was something that defied all common sense. Monstrous and heaven-defying were insufficient to describe it. It was extremely abnormal. Moreover, all the immortals and mortals on the other platforms had already deduced a terrifying truth. All the immortals in the fourth region had died at the hands of these three fellows. Among them, the mortal Xiaofan was the most terrifying. 11 million points showed how perverted he was in killing immortals like picking up grass. According to Xiaofan's points, he was already the champion of the 10 regions preliminaries. No one could surpass Xiaofan. No one could compete with him. 11 million points. Of course he was first. Even the immortal in second place only had close to 1 million points, he was left far behind by Xiaofan. Even Jiaolanzi, the acknowledged leader of the younger generation in the immortal world, only had 640,000 points floating above his head, putting 640,000 points and 11 million points together, they were not on the same level. Of course, Jiaolanzi's points were slightly lower because he wasn't bloodthirsty. If he went on a killing spree, his points would probably increase, but it would probably be difficult for him to reach Xiaofan's 11 million points. All of a sudden, Xiaofan's current state had caused an unprecedented shock. Every mortal and immortal standing on the other platforms felt as if their throats were tightly gripped by an invisible hand. Even breathing became extremely difficult, and all of them made strange gurgling sounds. After a long time, an immortal lost his composure and screamed, "Dead." Almost all the immortals in the fourth region had fallen at Xiaofan's hands. This is too terrifying. Even the son of the stars is dead. I can't believe he didn't get a slot. Just what method did this mortal Xiaofan use to get so many points and cause the deaths of tens of thousands of immortals? However, there were also a few immortals who were only a little shocked by Xiaofan's strength, but not afraid. These immortals were the cream of the crop in their respective regions. They had accumulated a lot of points, and the treasures they had refined were also extremely powerful. After a brief moment of shock, they glanced at Xiaofan with interest, as if they were looking at a juicy prey. With so many points, it means that the number of treasures in his body is also extremely terrifying. TSK, more than 30,000 treasures, and there's also the refining power that can't be used immediately. Now, it wouldn't be wrong to treat this mortal Xiaofan as a human-shaped treasure vault. Interesting, very interesting indeed. Once we kill Xiaofan, a treasure trove that can rival an entire nation will fall out of his body. Even in the immortal world. Now that I've killed Xiaofan, I won't have to continue exploring. I can return to the immortal world in style and glory. As for Xiaofan's group of friends and relatives, Jia Lanzi, Wu Yu, and the others, their minds were completely blank. They could only stare at Xiaofan, speechless. This was especially true for Wu Yu, Xiao Mingchu, and the others who had watched Xiaofan grow up. They were even more confused now. Xiaofan killed 10,000 immortals. Heavens! Those are immortals, not some random chicken or pottery dog. How could they be so easily defeated by Xiaofan? The scene was chaotic. Then, some immortals took the initiative to call out to Xiaofan and ask him questions, trying to find out how he had fought and killed immortals in the 4th region. Xiaofan completely ignored the countless questions, refusing to answer them. Just as the air was filled with a foul atmosphere, the void suddenly shook. A powerful pressure and aura descended like a whirlpool. It was as if the sky was collapsing. Space was being sucked dry. All the noise had been suppressed. The 10 great platforms were silent. A few breaths later, ha ha ha. Everyone, congratulations. Now, those who could stand on each of the platforms, be they mortals or immortals, were all extremely powerful. They were all geniuses who had reached the pinnacle in terms of strength and willpower. Not bad. Not bad at all. The preliminaries of the 10 great regions are finally over. Then, everyone will enter the arena competition. If you can pass the arena competition, it means that you have obtained the key to the 3rd level of my treasure. The quota. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded coldly. All of a sudden, the immortals and mortals on each platform looked at each other. It's finally starting. The next stage of the arena competition is finally starting. After the arena competition, survival of the fittest. The most outstanding ones can enter the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Hiss. This Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure only has 4 levels. The 4th level is the core level. Then, the 3rd level is very close to the core level. The treasures stored inside must be unimaginable. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice continued. Everyone, do your best. Let me tell you, as long as you pass the tournament and enter the 3rd layer of my treasure trove, then, ha 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 ha. If the treasures in the 1st layer of my treasure trove, the Genius Zone, are merely useless, defective items to immortals, then the treasures in the 2nd layer are all sorts of rare treasures that can increase a true immortal's battle prowess, and the treasures in the 3rd layer. Yes, the treasures in the 3rd layer are things that even immortal emperors would covet. Even immortal emperors might fight with their lives for the treasures of the 3rd level. When he said that, everyone held their breath. Alright, cut the crap. Whether or not you can enter the 3rd level of this emperor's treasure vault will depend on your performance in the arena battles. Now, all of you, listen up. I am going to announce the rules of the arena competition. All immortals and mortals put aside their distracting thoughts and listened attentively. Xiaofan also condensed the solid mental power star in his sea of consciousness into a ball. He was highly focused to ensure that he would not miss a single word that Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said. The arena competition is divided into the following segments. First, the mixed battle segment. First, each of the 10 zones has a maximum of 100 slots. In the mixed battle segment, other than the top 5 explorers, the rest of the explorers will engage in a mixed battle. A great massacre. Until there are only 5 people left in the zone, then the mixed battle will end. The mixed battle segment will also be carried out according to the original zones. There will not be any overlapping or mixed battles between explorers from different zones. For example, the first zone, through the preliminaries, there will be a total of 99 slots for the arena competition. Yes, although there are less than 100 people, it's close enough. Among these 99 people, the top 5 will automatically pass and not have to participate in the mixed battle segment. As for the remaining explorers who were ranked below the 5th place, they would have to engage in a brutal battle and slaughter. 94 people, a chaotic battle. 5 slots will be decided. With this announcement, everyone present understood what was going on. In each region, the participants who had obtained a spot in the arena would once again engage in a free-for-all battle. The top 5 in terms of points would automatically pass, while the remaining participants would fight for the remaining 5 spots. In other words, each of the 10 regions would have a total of 10 spots. One had to know that in a mixed battle, the strongest individual might not be able to pass. For example, if one was unlucky and the strongest individual was besieged during the mixed battle, then it was very likely that he would die. As for the top 5 in each zone, they would automatically pass. This would avoid the possibility of being besieged due to bad luck. No wonder before the preliminaries, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said to let the explorers gain as many points as possible. The more points they had, the more advantage they would have in the upcoming arena competition. It seemed like that was the case. In this way, the top 5 in each zone could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. Their faces revealed an expression of relief as if they had passed. In every region, the people who were ranked lower than 5 immediately became nervous. They looked around. Some of them had malicious expressions, some of them were filled with fighting spirit, and some of them were restless. As for Xiaofan, Heibai Zi, and Yulang Zi, they looked at each other dumbfoundedly. Xiaofan touched his nose. Brothers, only the 3 of us from the 4th zone entered the arena competition. We are the top 3 in the leaderboard, so, Yulang Zi licked his lips and touched his hair. In other words, the 3 of us passed directly? Something like that, Heibai Zi said concisely. What a joke. Xiaofan did not know whether to laugh or cry. This little brother had thought that the arena competition would reach an unimaginable level of cruelty. However, we have safely passed through the first hurdle. Xiaofan paused for a moment before his expression turned solemn. However, after the mixed battle segment, we won't pass so easily, on the other platforms. Jia Lanzi was naturally the first on the leaderboard, so he passed directly. And on Wu Yu's platform. Sect Master, what should we do? Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling, and the others looked at Wu Yu in fear. At this moment, on this platform, Wu Yu was ranked 4th on the leaderboard, and Xiao Mingchu was ranked 5th. He could pass directly, while Fang Ling, Dongfang Qin, and the others had to fight for the remaining 5 spots through the mixed battle. However, what made things difficult was that, the 8th zone where Wu Yu and the others were located was a zone for mortals to compete. A total of 100 mortals would enter the arena competition. And from Xiaohan's dimension, there were a lot of people who entered the 8th zone. There were dozens of them. Among them were some elites from the Cloud sect, some elders from the Wuxia Pagoda, ancient giants, and ancient giants. This group of people were outside the top 5 on the leaderboard. In other words, in the mixed battle later, among the 95 people, 20 to 30 people were from Xiaohan's dimension. Only 5 people could survive. Killing each other. Such a survival rate forced the dozens of people from Xiaohan's dimension to kill each other. After all, they came from the same dimension. Some were even old friends, old comrades, and even close like brothers. But now, they had to face the cruel situation of killing each other. This. Wu Yu was also shocked. Chapter 666. Similarly, the possibility of friends and family killing each other also appeared on the platforms of other regions. It caused some chaos. I'd rather quit. I'd rather not fight with friends of the same level. On the platform where Wu was, the heavenly devil old man was also there. He and Wu were good friends for many years. However, in the 8th region's ranking, the heavenly devil old man was only ranked 84th. Now, he had to face the battle royale. The heavenly devil old man shook his head angrily. I'd rather quit. Wu was so anxious that his forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Xiaofan also realized this problem and hurriedly shouted out. Sect leader, big senior brother, everyone, don't panic. Listen to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao continue to announce the rules. There might be a turn for the better. Just as Xiaofan finished speaking, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice resounded again. Ha ha ha, everyone, in the battle royale, those who do not wish to continue can quit. Quit this Emperor's Treasure adventure. You can quit. As soon as this was said, cheers immediately rang out on the platforms of the 10 regions. Wu and the others felt as if they had been pardoned by the Emperor. Their tensed faces relaxed. Xiaofan also wiped off his cold sweat. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao continued, stay or quit, everyone can choose. However, this Emperor wants to remind everyone that once you quit, you will have no chance with this Emperor's Treasure adventure. Moreover, after you quit, all the treasures and immortal equipment that you have yet to refine will be destroyed. Your points will be reset to 0. As soon as this was said. Hiss. What? Once I withdraw, all the magic treasures in my body will be destroyed and disappear? I have only refined 2 treasures, but there are still hundreds of treasures in my body. If I quit, it means that other than the 2 treasures that I have already controlled, the other treasures will disappear? Then I risked my life in the preliminaries, only to exchange for 2 treasures? The other Dharma treasures have all become illusions? No. I can't quit. Quitting means almost nothing. It's futile. I want to continue fighting. There was a price to quit. Then, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao continued to announce the rules. After the battle royale, only 10 people or a few people will survive in each area. Among them, there would be mortals, and there would also be immortals. And the next segment would be the arena battle. The survivors from each region would be randomly assigned according to their ranking, and they would compete in the arena with the survivors from other regions. This arena hegemony competition's 2 opponents were completely randomly selected. It could be a battle between mortals and mortals, immortals and immortals, or a battle between mortals and immortals. After the battle royale, there will also be a chance to automatically give up and exit the exploration. Yes, I have the virtue of cherishing life, so I'll give you one chance to back out before and after the free-for-all. However, once you enter the arena battle, no one is allowed to withdraw. You can also take the points, Dharma treasures, and power of refinement from those you kill in a chaotic battle. It can be said that the free-for-all is also a process for you to accumulate strength. It will allow you to obtain a large number of points and power of refinement. In terms of battle strength, you can catch up to the top rankers on the leaderboard and directly pass the stage without participating in the free-for-all. Alright, I've finished announcing the rules for the 2 rounds of the arena battles. Now, I'll give everyone 4 hours to think about it and decide whether to continue or withdraw. After 4 hours, the top 5 scorers of each area will be sent to the safe area. The remaining explorers of each area will enter the free-for-all round. Soon, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became silent. On the platforms of the 10 major regions, there were also sounds of discussions. Of course, there was no need to discuss the 4th region where Xiaofan was. Xiaofan, Heibai Zi, and Yulang Zi were the top 3 in terms of points, and automatically entered the next stage, the arena battle. However, Xiaofan also frowned and asked. 2 big brothers, we don't need to participate in the free-for-all. However, will you 2 big brothers participate in the upcoming arena battle? This. Heibai Zi and Yulang Zi looked at each other. Xiaofan said carefully. Two big brothers, the arena battle will randomly choose an opponent. There's a possibility of dying. Hearing this, Black-White Z and Yu Yangzi seriously nodded their heads. Yes, in the 4th region's qualifiers, it was Xiaofan who took care of Heibai Z and Yu Lang Z. That was why they were able to fight their way out of the tight encirclement when it was absolutely impossible for them to obtain a spot in the arena battle. However, in the upcoming arena battle, it was completely impossible for Xiaofan to take care of Heibai Z and Yu Lang Z. Although Heibai Z and Yu Lang Z each refined an offensive and defensive magic treasure, their overall combat strength was unable to gain any advantage when compared to the other region's outstanding experts. It should be known that those who obtained a spot in the arena battle from the other regions, which one of them did not refine a magic treasure? Thus, if they wanted to enter the arena battle, the possibility of Heibai Z and Yu Lang Z dying was extremely high. Unless they had heaven-defying luck and were able to randomly choose an extremely inferior opponent during the arena battle and win. Even if they encountered a mortal, they would be easily killed. Brother Xiaofan, let's think about it first. Heibai Z and Yu Lang Z were very anxious and couldn't make a decision immediately. Xiaofan nodded. How about we wait for the free-for-all phase to end before making a decision? Alright. Heibai Z also nodded. Then, he asked. Brother Xiaofan, with your combat strength, you will definitely have to participate in the arena battle after the free-for-all phase? Xiaofan smiled. A hint of determination flashed across his eyes. I will try my best. Then, Xiaofan also swept his soul and mental energy towards the platform where Wu Yu was. It was also the platform of the 8th region. At this moment, all the mortals standing on the platform of the 8th region gathered together and started the most serious discussion. Everyone, after the free-for-all phase, it will be the arena battle. Wu Yu's eyes flashed with a strange light. In the arena battle, there is no difference between immortals and mortals. At that time, we will be randomly assigned opponents and engage in a life and death battle. Once we mortals encounter immortals, I'm afraid we won't have the slightest chance of winning. Although we mortals also obtained the power to refine magic treasures with points in the preliminaries, our points increased by 10 points, which is far less than the points gained by killing each other. The quality of the magic treasures obtained by us mortals and the immortal treasures obtained by the immortals are worlds apart from the ones obtained by the immortals. We mortals also refined some low-grade immortal weapons, magic treasures, and pills, but against the magic treasures controlled by immortals, it is like hitting a rock with an egg. After a pause, Wu Yu finally said. In fact, it is not an exaggeration to say that the exploration of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is over for us mortals. Sect Master Wu Yu, what do you mean? Immediately, there were mortals and tower masters from other planes who turned their heads to look at Wu Yu. Withdraw. Wu Yu said with a faint smile. However, his expression was extremely solemn and serious. This. As soon as Wu Yu said this, dozens of mortals immediately sent Tanbao / to express their different opinions. Sect Master Wu, if we withdraw like this, then the treasures that we have yet to refine will be annihilated and will no longer belong to us. Yes, I originally thought that I had obtained great treasures, but I can only watch as these treasures that will never appear in the mortal world are annihilated like bubbles. I can't accept this. I absolutely can't accept this. I'll fight. I want to continue. The free-for-all round. Then, the arena competition. Wu Yu shrugged his shoulders and laughed. Everyone has their own ambitions. I, Wu Yu, withdraw. Originally, I, Wu Yu, was ranked 4th in the 8th area with my points, so I didn't need to participate in the free-for-all round and could directly enter the arena competition. But now, I, Wu Yu, withdraw from this exploration. My ranking should be replaced by you, Mingchu. But Xiao Mingchu also smiled. Sect Master, this disciple knows his own limits, this disciple also withdraws. Brother Wu, I, Heavenly Devil Old Man, also withdraw. Heavenly Devil Old Man said with a relaxed smile. Although there are so many treasures in my body that will be annihilated, this old man has refined and controlled a few treasures. I'm satisfied, ha ha ha. This disciple also withdraws. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling said at the same time. At the same time, many elders, ancient giants that came from Xiaofan's plane also expressed their withdrawal. If we don't withdraw, we will inevitably kill each other in the free-for-all round. That will be painful. It's better to withdraw in the face of difficulties. Fang Ling said extremely calmly. Even if we pass the free-for-all round, we will inevitably die in the hands of those immortals in the arena competition. Seeing that almost all the mortals in his plane had chosen to withdraw, Wu Yu also nodded his head in affirmation. Yes, people can't not pursue and have a courageous heart. However, blind confidence and gambling on luck are not desirable. It seems that we have regretfully withdrawn from this exploration, but we can rely on the fortuitous encounters and tempering we have obtained in the preliminaries to reach the immortal realm. Actually, it's not like we didn't gain anything. Just like this, on the 8th platform, almost 2/3 of the mortals stood on Wu Yu's side and chose to withdraw. Only 32 mortals insisted on continuing the exploration. Sect Master, Senior Brothers, and everyone else, your choice is extremely correct. Xiaofan heaved a sigh of relief. Xiaofan, let's see your performance in the arena competition. Wu Yu looked at Xiaofan with confidence. You are the only mortal qualified to challenge the immortals. Junior brother Xiaofan, do your best. Xiao Mingchu also shouted to Xiaofan with a smile. Xiaofan nodded his head with a smile, indicating that he would definitely do his best to win and not show weakness to the immortals. At the same time, on the other platforms, there were also many choices. Of the 5 mortal platforms, except for Wu Yu's side, the other 4 also had a large number of mortals who did not want to continue and did not want to die. They all withdrew. The 6th platform, the mortal platform, only had 12 mortals left, and they wanted to continue. The 7th platform, 23 people left. The 8th platform, where Wu Yu was, 32 people left. The 9th platform, 17 people left. The 10th platform, 8 people left. It was not just the mortals who chose to withdraw. Even in the immortals area, there were some immortals who did not want to continue. They also valued their lives. Of course, the will of immortals far exceeded that of mortals. Therefore, only a small number of immortals withdrew. Most immortals stayed. 4 hours later. So, everyone has made their choice, right? Alright, the first segment of the 10 main regions arena competition, the free-for-all segment, begins now. My divine will automatically send the top 5 of the 10 main region scoreboard to the safe zone. Those who give up and leave will be directly sent out of my treasury by me. The rest will enter the free-for-all segment. Kill. Decide the top 5 spots for each region. To be continued. Chapter 667. After 4 hours of discussion, the immortals and mortals of the 10 great districts had come to their own decisions. On each platform, those who chose to withdraw stood at the side. Some of these people were optimistic, some were regretful, and some were helpless. At this moment, boom! 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 Rays of divine rainbows shrouded the platform. They filled the 10 platforms. Colorful lights. Illusion of light and shadow. It was like a dream world. First, the top 5 in each region were sent out of the platform by an inexplicable force. Xiaofan suddenly felt that he was like a feather floating in the air, slowly being sent away from the platform. This power was very gentle and not overbearing, it was like a spring breeze. However, Xiaofan could feel that this power contained the great will of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, it was irresistible. Black and white sun and fish stem stood on Xiaofan's left and right, and were also sent out of the platform. Hee hee. Our 4th region doesn't need to have a free-for-all. Everyone, enter the arena, Fish Stem joked. The top 5 on the leaderboard of the other regional platforms all looked over, humph. Tens of thousands of immortals competed, and only these 3 are left to get the spots for the free-for-all. They're too ambitious and murderous. On the left, a sage-like young immortal in white robes looked coldly at Xiaofan. His robes fluttered in the wind, and he looked like a king of stars descending to the mortal world. Traces of refining and controlling a supreme-grade immortal artifact could be seen all over his body. However, in the depths of his eye sockets, there was also a flash of greed. He scanned Xiaofan repeatedly. He. Xiaofan also looked at the immortals around him. These immortals. They were the top 5 in their respective regions. They did not need to participate in the free-for-all. Their points were in the hundreds of thousands, and some even neared 1 million. Xiaofan could not help but lick his lips and thought to himself. These guys are very greedy for my points, aren't they? But at the same time, I also want to kill these fat lambs as soon as possible. In order to obtain a large amount of refinement power, I will be able to break through the inheritance jade pendant in my dantian. As long as I completely inherit Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's inheritance and obtain the opportunity to gain enlightenment, then even if I reach the immortal world, I will be able to kill everyone. I'm afraid that no one below the Immortal Emperor realm will be my match. There's also a chance to kill the demon god's egg in Annihilation's heart. Xiaofan also saw a large number of immortals with rich points as prey. Xiaofan. I don't think you obtained such a terrifying number of points by killing an immortal head-on, right? What kind of scheme did you use? A sinister voice rang out. Xiaofan looked around and saw an immortal who was as thin as a bamboo pole, but whose eyes were overflowing with golden lightning. The immortal was smiling coldly at him. This fellow was ranked first on the second region scoreboard. He had 820,000 points above his head, slightly more than Xiaolanzi. He exuded an invincible aura and was insufferably arrogant. You killed the son of the stars, Xiaofan. The son of the stars and I have been through life and death together. I didn't expect him to fail miserably and die at your hands. The immortal ranked third on the third region scoreboard looked at Xiaofan with a bloodthirsty grin. Xiaofan, you're definitely not a match for the son of the stars in a fair and square fight. You played dirty. But it doesn't matter. I'll avenge the son of the stars. You'd better pray that you don't run into me in the upcoming matches. Otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. A bunch of scum. Xiaofan retorted nonchalantly, flicking his fingernails. Don't try to bully me like an immortal. Otherwise, I'll make sure all of you die a slow death. Xiaofan, you. Xiaofan's attitude immediately drew angry glares from many immortals. At this moment, Xiaolanzi turned to Xiaofan and said, Brother Xiao, don't bother with others. Xiaofan smiled and turned to look at Xiaolanzi. Brother Xiaolanzi, you're also participating in the upcoming matches. Heh, I hope we don't run into each other. At the same time, Xiaofan's gaze shifted to Tao Tai Zi, Shiyang Zi, and the other immortals he was familiar with. Soon, the top 5 of the 10 regions were teleported to a misty space. This misty space seemed to be thousands of miles away from the 10 regions' platforms, but it also felt like it was very close. It was an illusion of space, and it was very magical. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded again, those of the 10 regions who will directly enter the arena matches, you may now sit down and rest while waiting for the free-for-all phase to end. Xiaofan immediately sat down cross-legged, looked around, and said with a smile, Big brother He Zi, Big brother Yang Zi, let's not be impatient. Big brother Black and White, Big brother Fish Stem, let's not be impatient. Let's take a rest. There's still some time before the contestants will be decided in the free-for-all round, so we're free now. Big brothers, if you want to consider whether you want to enter the arena battle, you can think about it as much as you want now. Alright. Black and White Z and Yang Z sat down with solemn expressions. The two of them began to struggle over whether they should continue or withdraw like Black Dragon and the others. At the same time, the top 5 of the various regions also sat down and looked at the 10 regions' platforms. Currently, in this misty space, there were a total of 48 immortals and mortals who had the highest points in their respective regions gathered in the 10 regions. These 48 people, together with the 45 spots after the free-for-all phase of the 10 regions free-for-all phase, Xiaofan's 4th region only had 3 people left, so it was impossible for there to be a free-for-all phase, had a total of 93 people who would enter the arena matches. The 93 people would be randomly assigned to fight one by one. Of course, it did not exclude the possibility that there might be people who decided to withdraw at the last minute among the 93 people. Things were settled here. The 10 regions platforms. The immortals and mortals who had the lowest points watched as Xiaofan and the others who had the highest points and did not need to participate in the free-for-all phase left. Then, the people who still wanted to continue and reach the free-for-all phase had tense expressions. Their surging battle intent and determination to die began to burn. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice. Orderly sounds rang out from the other side, those who choose to withdraw. Leave this emperor's treasure in succession. Just as he finished speaking, Wang. 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 10 spatial doors. They suddenly appeared out of nowhere and stood on the 10 great platforms. On each spatial door, there were ancient modeled traces of wood rings. Those who decide to withdraw, leave quickly. You will be directly transported out of this emperor's treasure. The treasures in your bodies that you have yet to refine will be annihilated. Your points will also be reset to 0. From now on, you will have nothing to do with this emperor's treasure. Cut off all ties. You will never be able to enter this emperor's treasure again. After Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao finished his announcement, a large number of mortals and a few immortals who had decided to withdraw from the various platforms entered the spatial doors one after another and left. On the 8th region's platform where Black Dragon was. Sect Master. Let's leave. Xiao Mingchu took a step closer to the spatial door. Thus, Black Dragon was the leader. Dozens of people who came from Xiaofan's dimension all walked toward the spatial door. On the other region's platforms, there were also some elders of the Wuxia Tower from Xiaofan's dimension, ancient giants who came from Xiaofan's dimension. All of them walked toward the spatial door without hesitation. Xiaofan's 5 slaves from another dimension, as well as Yan Lang and the others, also prepared to leave. Senior brothers, you must come out alive and bring back many treasures to revitalize our sect. Some immortals cheered loudly as they left, cheering on their fellow sect members and friends who stayed behind to participate in the free-for-all and arena battles. Before Black Dragon and the others left, he also stared at Xiaofan and transmitted his voice across the air. Xiaofan, we'll leave first. We won't return to our dimension for the time being. We'll stay in the universe outside this treasure and wait for you to finish your exploration. Junior brother Xiaofan, you will definitely be able to stand out among the many immortals. Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling, Dongfang Qin, and the others all looked at Xiaofan with confidence. Xiaofan's slaves also cheered for Xiaofan before they left. On the other side, Xiaofan directly stood up and smiled at Black Dragon and the others. Sect leader, senior brothers, and everyone else, you can leave in peace. Wait for my good news outside. I, Xiaofan, will definitely not let you down. Good. Xiaofan, then we won't stick to the customs and act like children. We'll leave first. Black Dragon looked deeply at Xiaofan, then stepped into the spatial door and disappeared without a trace. Let's go. Xiao Mingchu and the others laughed and nodded to Xiaofan, then walked into the spatial door one by one. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, soon, mortals and immortals entered the spatial door one by one and disappeared. From then on, they had no fate with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. After a while, the spatial door of the first region's platform closed. The spatial door of the second region's platform closed. The spatial doors of the 10 regions' platforms were all closed. On each region's platform, there were only people left who were going to participate in the free-for-all. The next moment, hum 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 hum, on each platform of the 10 regions' platforms, space portals appeared again. However, the space portals that appeared this time were filled with the smell of a bloody battlefield, yellow sand, and flying flags. From the outside of each portal, one could see the bloodstains on the door frame. It was a horrifying scene. 10 regions, free-for-all. Begin. Participants of the free-for-all, immediately enter. Slaughter. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said solemnly. There are no rules in the free-for-all. There are no rules, only slaughter. Until, in each region, there are only 5 people left. In the free-for-all, if you kill others, you can obtain their talisman refining power. Begin. Roar. Kill. I will definitely escape from the free-for-all, from the mountain of corpses and the sea of bones. Those who block me will die. All of a sudden, all the participants of the battle royale in the 10 regions rushed into the space portals of their respective regions with a ferocious aura. Soon, the platforms of the 10 regions were empty. On the other side, Xiaofan and many immortals and mortals who were at the top of the scoreboard and did not need to participate in the free-for-all looked over. Everyone's immortal senses, soul strength, and mental strength were covering those spatial doors. Everyone knew that these 10 spatial doors represented 10 battlefields. At this moment, apart from the battlefield inside the spatial door of the 4th region's platform, which was calm and undisturbed, the most primitive and horrifying slaughter was taking place in every battlefield. I also want to see the situation in these battlefields. Xiaofan was bored. He covered the battlefield with his powerful soul strength, trying to penetrate into some of the spatial door battlefields. To be continued. Chapter 668. The free-for-all segment was already in full swing. Xiaofan gathered his soul force and wanted to watch the show. However, as soon as his soul force got close to the portal, he had a terrible feeling of falling into the abyss. Xiaofan quickly withdrew his soul force and shook his head. It seems that I can only wait until the battle royale is over. I can't watch the process of the battle royale. Ibdu. Boom. 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 At the same time, from inside each portal, there were occasional vibrations, accompanied by some heart-wrenching screams. It seemed to indicate that mortals and immortals were dying one by one. Occasionally, there was a roar of death, which made people's hair stand on end. Although I can't directly watch the battle royale in the 10 regions, but the cruelty and brutality will definitely far exceed the preliminaries. Xiaofan nodded silently. Like Xiaofan, the dozens of mortals and immortals in the same misty space couldn't see what was going on. After watching for a while, they all sat down cross-legged and didn't pay attention to it anymore. The battle royale was still going on. The fluctuations that overflowed from the 10 portals were getting more and more intense, which meant that the battle royale was getting more and more intense. However, it seemed that this battle royale would not come to an end for a while. Xiaofan was extremely bored, so he swept his gaze over the immortals and mortals around him. With the fluctuation of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's will, he directly penetrated the dantian of the mortals and immortals and carefully studied the magic treasures and immortal weapons stored in their dantian. Xiaofan could see through the secrets of the dantian of anyone who entered the treasure of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, but the others could not see the situation in Xiaofan's dantian. All of a sudden, these mortals and immortals. They all felt as if Xiaofan had seen through their hearts. It was a terrible feeling that they had nowhere to hide. They all looked at Xiaofan with horrified eyes, but they could not sense anything wrong. Oh! Jia Lanzi raised his head and glanced at Xiaofan. There was a flash of surprise in his eyes, but he soon shook his head gently and whispered. Impossible. I must have sensed wrongly. Brother Xiao can't see through the immortal fate and fortuitous encounter we have. Xiaofan observed them one by one. He shook his head again and again. Of all the immortal items and magical treasures he had observed in the dansions of the immortals and mortals, none of them were suitable for him to use. Forget it. The biggest gain I can get from killing these guys isn't points. It's not a celestial artifact or Dharma treasure. It's the power of refinement. However, Xiaofan was not discouraged at all. He knew what he wanted. Just then, crack. On the other side, on the first platform of the 10 great area platforms, the energy fluctuations coming from the space portal came to an abrupt stop. Over at Xiaohan's side, everyone couldn't help but look over. 5 immortals slowly walked out from the portal. The 5 immortals all had bloodstains on their faces, and were in low spirits. Some of them had sustained serious injuries, and their immortal energy was dim. However, as soon as they walked out, they immediately looked like they had just survived a disaster. One of the immortals, whose left eye was surging with immortal blood, even threw his head back and roared hysterically. Victory! I've finally defeated and crushed the other opponents. I'm out. The battle royale is over. I, Bei Fengzi, survived and entered the arena hegemony battle. Roar! Next to the immortal with the injured left eye, another immortal wailed in a sobbing tone. Terrible. It's too tragic. Kill. His eyes were red from killing. It's either you die or I die. There's no other choice. Blood is everywhere. Terrible. Kill. Oh. The battle royale in the first area has ended. The 5 surviving immortals have obtained the spots to enter the arena battle. Xiaofan nodded slightly. Then, Xiaofan frowned. He saw that the points floating above the heads of the 5 surviving immortals in the first area were extremely terrifying. They were all in the millions. One of them even had 3.5 million points, surpassing Xiaofan in one fell swoop. These points. The immortals in Xiaohan's area all stared at him. Xiaofan was also taken aback for a moment, but he quickly understood. The 5 people who were able to get a spot in the Battle Royale round naturally had a terrifying amount of points. This was because they had divided up all the benefits, points, treasures, and refining power of the top 100 in a large area, and added them to themselves. It seems that participating in the Battle Royale round has a lot of benefits. Just then, a warm light enveloped the 5 immortals on the first area's platform. Suddenly, the injuries of the 5 immortals began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. The 5 immortals sat down cross-legged and began to meditate. Moreover, the power of refinement revolved around their bodies. It looked like they were making the best use of their time to refine the treasures in their dantian. Then, 5 immortals walked out of the second area's platform. Their points skyrocketed, and they immediately obtained a chance to heal and rest. The third area's platform, 5 immortals. The fifth area's platform, 5 immortals. The sixth area's platform, 5 mortals. The seventh area's platform, 5 mortals. The 10th area's platform, 5 mortals. The battle royale had finally come to an end. Of the 10 regions, aside from the 4th region where Xiaofan was, the immortals and mortals of the other 9 regions fought bloody battles to determine the final 45 spots. These people would be able to enter the main event, the arena battles. Of these 45 spots, 25 were mortals, and the remaining 20 were immortals. On Xiaohan's side, one by one, the immortals and mortals stood up. Next. It's our turn, the arena battles. Some immortals said. Their lips curved into a sinister sneer. I can't wait anymore, in fact. Logically speaking, those who could get into the top 5 in each area and avoid the battle royale would definitely be more talented than those who had participated in the battle royale. Therefore, those who stood on Xiaohan's side inevitably felt a sense of superiority. He looked down on those people who had to go through bloody battles in order to obtain a spot. However, Xiaofan did not think so in his heart. Xiaofan knew that after the battle royale, those who could walk out of the mountain of corpses and sea of bones and survive. Whether it was willpower or battle strength. The number of magic treasures had increased in many aspects. Not long after, the light on the 10 areas platforms faded. The 45 people had already recovered from their injuries. Now, all of them were in high spirits and did not show any signs of fatigue. On the contrary, their eyes were filled with battle intent. Alright, the arena battles are about to begin. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was extremely satisfied. Shockingly, Xiao, an inexplicable great force teleported the 45 people on the 10 areas platforms to the misty space where Xiaofan and the others were. In this way, 93 people had already gathered in one place. These 93 people were all qualified to participate in the upcoming Arena Hegemony tournament. Among the 93 people, 42 of them were immortals and 51 of them were mortals. These people looked at each other. In an instant, a strong smell of gunpowder filled the air. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was heard again. This emperor has said that before entering this segment of the Arena Hegemony battle, there are a total of 2 chances to withdraw. There is 1 chance to withdraw before and after the free-for-all segment. Now that the free-for-all segment has ended, this seat will give you 1 last chance to choose, to continue, or to withdraw. Boom! An enormous spatial door appeared with a rumble. All 93 people, including Xiaofan, were standing and looking at the space gate. The last chance to make a choice. If they continued, they might die and be buried in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure forever, turning the treasure into a tomb. If they withdrew, they could preserve their lives, but they would forever lose the chance to compete for Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Moreover, all the magic treasures that they had obtained previously would be destroyed. It was simply a reckless waste of resources. This, withdraw or continue, the scene became a little anxious. At this moment, Black and White Z and Yulang Z, who were standing beside Xiaofan, exchanged glances. Brother Xiaofan, Black and White Z looked at Xiaofan. Big brothers, have you made your choice? Xiaofan immediately asked. Yes, we choose to withdraw. Black and White Z finally said. After a pause, he said sincerely. Brother Xiaofan, thank you for taking care of me in the preliminaries. I can't thank you enough for saving my life. Now, Yulang Z and I will temporarily leave. Brother Xiaofan, you must be careful in the upcoming arena battles. However, with your battle strength, you should be able to pass smoothly. Brother Xiaofan, we will wait for your good news outside. Yulang Z said with a serious face. All right. Brothers, please withdraw first. Xiaofan smiled and said. Thus, Black and White Z and Yulang Z exchanged a few words with Xiaofan, then directly passed through the space door and withdrew. Following that, many mortals at the scene finally changed their minds at this crucial moment. They did not insist on participating in the arena battles and withdrew. Out of the 51 mortals, 45 people actually withdrew. Including Xiaofan, there were only 6 mortals left at the scene. Among the 42 immortals, other than Black and White Z and Yulang Z, there were a few others who withdrew. Now, there were 36 immortals left. Have you made your choice? After 10 breaths, the space door will completely close. At that time, you won't be able to leave even if you want to. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice solemnly reminded. After 10 breaths. 6 mortals and 36 immortals did not have any intention of withdrawing. The space door closed. It disappeared. Alright, everyone, a total of 6 mortals and 36 immortals, enter the arena battles. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice rumbled and resounded in this space. To be continued. Chapter 669. Finally, the last segment of the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, the arena battle was about to begin. There were 6 mortals, including Xiaofan, and 36 immortals. A total of 42 people. Xiaofan looked around and sighed. Back then, there were hundreds of thousands of immortals and mortals who entered the second level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure vault. Now, there were only 42 people left. Moreover, these 42 people had to continue to fight and continue to die. However, the 42 people who remained, regardless of whether they were immortals or mortals, were all people with extremely strong willpower. They were not afraid of death, and no danger or predicament could erase their conviction. They were all ruthless characters. Moreover, all of them controlled a large number of points and had countless treasures in their bodies. Their bodies were also glowing with the colors of immortal treasures. Xiaohan's combat power was not the same as before. He could use the dagger with his soul and mental strength with ease. He also had a super powerful killer move that could kill 100 immortals with one slash, dragon formed from saber chi. However, Xiaofan maintained an extremely calm state of mind. He did not have any arrogance or underestimation of his enemies. In the arena battle, no matter who he faced, Xiaofan would treat them seriously. He would not be careless. Even when facing these immortals, Xiaofan purposely lowered his state of mind. He had the attitude of a challenger. At this moment, boom 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 boom, this stretch of misty space suddenly started shaking. A vast divine aura surged. It emitted an unfathomable and terrifying aura of heavenly might. The 42 people, including Xiaofan, could not help but shiver from the bottom of their bones. Then, everyone's courage is commendable. Ha ha ha. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was heard. If you want to inherit my treasures, you will indeed need extraordinary battle prowess and courage. Those who retreated are cowards. They don't have the right to obtain my treasures. All of you are very good. It's also possible that my most precious treasure, which is my Saber Dao cultivation base and Dao inheritance, will be obtained by one of you. As soon as he said that, the eyes of the mortals and immortals turned red and bloodshot. Their breathing became labored. Dao. The legacy of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Once I obtain his cultivation in the Saber Dao, then I'll be able to do as I please even in the immortal dimension. To put it bluntly, among the countless treasures of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, his Dao heritage is the most precious, a priceless treasure. It's 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more precious than any immortal artifact or divine pill. Ha ha ha. Don't be too naive. The orthodoxy can only be imparted to one person. Among us, although Xiaofan suddenly rose to prominence, in terms of foundation, Jia Lanzi is still the strongest. If nothing goes wrong, the inheritance of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao will eventually fall into Jia Lanzi's hands. There's no use in you all babbling. Have you fought for Jia Lanzi before? Yes, I don't have too much ambition. I just hope to completely control all the magic treasures and fairy weapons in my Dantian. Then this trip will not be in vain. It would be best if I could obtain Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's legacy, but even if I lose it, I won't be disheartened. Some of the immortals started discussing using soul telepathy. Xiaofan, on the other hand, smiled without batting an eyelid. He thought to himself, the inheritance of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao has already fallen into my hands. Not only that, I've also refined and mastered a little bit of his blade Dao. You want it? Hehe, now it depends on whether, Xiaofan, am willing to take it out or not. Xiaofan had the greatest advantage in obtaining Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's legacy because it was in Xiaohan's body. However, Xiaofan also understood that if he was killed by his opponent, then everything he had done would be for the benefit of others. All the opportunities he had gained would be wasted. It could be said that Xiaofan was still a little unsure about the jade plate of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's inheritance that was floating in his Dantian. Unless he obtained more refining power, he could continuously attack and refine the jade plate, nibbling away at the great saber Dao contained in the jade plate bit by bit. However, to continuously control the jade plate of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao was also an extremely difficult and long process. Now, Xiaofan only controlled 1/50th of the inheritance in the jade plate. There was still a long way to go. At this moment, Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's words pulled Xiaofan's thoughts back. The other immortals and mortals quickly gathered their attention and listened to Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's words. Now, I will announce the rules of this arena hegemony battle. The purpose of the arena hegemony battle is to let everyone obtain the key to the 3rd floor of my treasure trove. Ha ha ha. You might misunderstand that the purpose of fighting in this arena hegemony battle is for immortal treasures and weapons? For refining power? Ha ha ha. Wrong. There won't be any additional rewards in the arena competition, and there won't be any more rewards for refining energy. There's only one purpose, and that is for you to pass the arena competition and obtain the key to the 3rd level. There are great treasures in the 3rd floor of my treasure trove. There were great treasures in the 3rd floor of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. Yes, I have said before that the treasures in the 3rd floor can make immortal emperors drool. It can make immortal emperors lose their minds and fight with their lives. Moreover, in the 3rd floor, the refining power will gather into the lake ocean wind and cloud. Once you enter the 3rd floor, you may obtain unimaginable refining power and break through the restrictions on the immortal treasures in your bodies, allowing you to completely control these immortal treasures. It will no longer be an illusion that can only be seen but not touched. Ha 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 ha. Hearing this, all the mortals and immortals present held their breaths. One had to know that every mortal and immortal present had a large number of treasures in their bodies, ranging from a few thousand to tens of thousands of treasures. However, these treasures required a large amount of refinement power in order to be completely owned by him. Without refining power, these treasures were just decorations. In the last part of the 2nd floor, the arena hegemony battle, even if one obtained refining power, it was not enough to refine too many immortal treasures. According to Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao, once one entered the 3rd floor, it would be incredible. The refining power would gather into the lake ocean wind and cloud? If one obtained a little bit, they would be able to break through the restrictions on the immortal treasures in one's dantian. This was too tempting. Even Jia Lanzi, who had always been calm, now had a slight change in his eyes. Facing such temptation, it was indeed difficult to resist. Also, this emperor wants to tell you that there is more than one key to enter the 3rd floor. In other words, the 42 of you fighting one by one isn't going to kill each other until the last one remains. Ha ha ha. This emperor has the virtue of cherishing life. All of you are supreme experts, and your futures are limitless. Isn't it too cruel to make all of you fight until the last one remains? Alas, all of you are like some exquisitely carved jade, and this emperor doesn't have the heart to shatter all of you. Ha ha ha. Out of the 42, how many will survive? No need to fight to the death. Hearing this, Xiaofan relaxed a little. He subconsciously looked at Jialan Zi, Tao Tai Zi, Shiyang Zi, and the other immortals he was familiar with. That's good too. If only one of us survives, then I will inevitably have to fight with Brother Jialan, Brother Tao Tai, and the other good friends. At that time, it will be hard to part with them. As for Jia Lanzi, Tao Tai, and the others, they also looked at Xiaofan with relief in their eyes. Now, this emperor will announce the detailed rules of the arena battle, as well as the conditions to obtain the key to enter the 3rd floor. In the arena battle, opponents will be randomly assigned, and the battle will be fought in pairs. When 2 people are assigned together, before the battle, they can choose to not fight. Exempt from battle? This rule caused Xiaofan and the others to be dumbfounded. Since it was an arena battle, it must be extremely tragic. But now, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao announced that they could not fight. Not fighting means giving up on the battle. However, there is a price to pay. When you give up on the battle, 100,000 points and 1,000 treasures will be obtained by your opponent. Of course, if you have less than 100,000 points and less than 1,000 treasures, you are not qualified to fight. If both sides do not choose to fight, then once they reach the arena, it will be a fight to the death. If you defeat or kill your opponent, you can take all of your opponent's points, treasures, and refining power. There is no limit to the number of rounds in the arena battle. It will be carried out one round after another. When you have accumulated more than 6 million points, you can apply to obtain the key to enter the third floor. You can completely withdraw from the arena battle. However, there is more than one key to enter the third floor. It's the same as the keys in the Genius Zone on the surface of my treasure. There are 7 types of keys: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple. 7-colored key. Red key, 6 million points obtained. Orange key, 7 million points obtained. Yellow key, 8 million points obtained. Blue key, 11 million points obtained. Purple key. Yes, purple key. In the Genius Zone's Battle of Geniuses, a purple key also appeared. It was obtained by a young genius from the mortal world. The purple key is the most valuable key in the Genius Zone. Similarly, the purple key is also the most valuable key in the Genius Zone when it comes to the third level of my treasure vault. Purple key. 20 million points. Purple key. Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat when he heard Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao mention the purple key. One had to know that Xiaofan obtained a purple key in the Genius Zone and refined it into his body. Because of this, he obtained indescribable benefits. After entering the second level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure, Xiaofan directly obtained the Inheritance Jade token. He had also received some hints from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Now, another purple key had appeared in the arena hegemony competition. Subconsciously, Xiaofan was determined to obtain this purple key. Purple key, 20 million points. And now Xiaofan currently had 11 million points. Subconsciously, Xiaofan looked at the other immortals and mortals. He observed their points. Chapter 670. The rules announced by Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao were very detailed. It mentioned the exemption from battle and the rules of exchanging points for the key to the third floor. Whether it was exemption from battle or exchanging for the key, points were extremely important. Without enough points, one did not even have the qualification to be exempted from battle. One could only fight to the death. On the contrary, if one had enough points, he could choose to fight or not to fight. He could take the initiative in the battle. Moreover, once his points reached 6 million, he could directly exchange for the key to the third floor. Xiaofan's gaze swept across the mortals and immortals present, carefully checking their points. Other than Xiaofan, the other 5 mortals had survived the battle royale, killed their competitors, and survived. However, the battle royale between mortals was calculated in 10 points. Therefore, these 5 mortals did not have many points, only a few 100,000. As for the immortals like Jia Lanzi and the Taotai were in the top 5 of their respective regions' leaderboards. They had skipped the free-for-all phase and entered the arena battles. Their points were between 500,000 and 1 million. As for the immortals who had passed the battle royale and walked out from the sea of corpses, their points were catching up. They had obtained great benefits from the slaughter, and their points had reached millions. A few of them even surpassed Xiaofan in terms of points. Now, it was not only Xiaofan who was observing the points of others. The others were also constantly observing the points. Many pairs of eyes swept over Xiaofan. Xiaofan's 3,110,000 points were indeed huge. He had a solid foundation. With 6 million points, he could obtain a key to the third floor. With Xiaofan's points, he was already halfway to success if he wanted to enter the third floor. Similarly, as long as he killed Xiaofan and obtained his points, he would have 1 foot in the third floor. Previously, during the preliminaries, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao repeatedly emphasized the importance of points. It seems like it's true. Those with more points indeed have more benefits. Xiaofan's gaze subconsciously swept over a bald immortal. This immortal had climbed up from the battle royale by stepping on the corpses of other immortals. His points were about the same as Xiaofan's, 2,910,000 points. If I were to fight with this baldy and kill him, I would be able to exchange for a red key. Xiaofan's lips curled into a faint smile. However, he shook his head. Forget it. The red key isn't my goal. My goal is the purple key that's worth 20 million points. Just like the adventure in the Genius Zone, this time, I will also obtain the most precious purple key. The bald immortal with 291 million points sensed Xiaofan's gaze and immediately turned his head to look at him. His expression became extremely hideous as he bared his fangs and spoke with an ominous glint in his eyes. He bared his teeth and said, "Xiaofan, it seems like you're after me." That's right. If you can kill me, then your points will reach 6 million and you will obtain the key, but, ha 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 ha. Similarly, if I kill you, I will obtain the key as well. I'm looking forward to it. Xiaofan, I'm looking forward to fighting you. Ha ha ha. I would like to see how a mere mortal can obtain so many points. Xiaofan sneered and turned his head away. He did not want to argue with these immortals. He quietly waited for Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao to announce the start of the battle. Right now, everyone understood the rules of the arena battle of hegemony. They were all eager to give it a try. Not long after. Boom! In the entire space, an earth-shattering tremor burst forth. Then, rays of chaotic light shot out in all directions and intertwined with each other. Like a mirage, the light spread and overflowed. It was extremely mystical and a spectacular sight. Soon, the light and mist intertwined and formed an arena that looked like it was made of divine jade. It was an ancient and huge arena. It was almost boundless. Ancient runes and the word Immortal flowed on it. The arena emitted an ancient and murderous aura. There were even specks of immortal blood flowing on it. All in all, the arena gave off a frightening feeling that could take one's soul away. This arena? Xiaofan was slightly stunned. This is the arena for the battle? It's really extravagant. Then, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded again, "Then, there's no point in talking anymore. The most crucial part of the second floor of my treasure, the battle for the battle for the battle for the battle for the second floor, will now begin. 42 explorers, now, my divine sense will randomly assign you to fight each other without any bias. Remember, after the randomization is completed, if you are afraid of your opponent and do not dare to fight, you can spend 100,000 points and 1,000 artifacts in exchange for a chance to avoid the battle. It's finally starting." The eyes of the immortals and mortals standing next to Xiaofan narrowed. Nervousness was written all over their faces. The matchmaking was about to begin, and no one knew if they would be chosen, or who their opponent would be. Randomly choosing an opponent was more mysterious than drawing lots to decide the battle. The mysteriousness also caused people's hearts to be slightly frightened and confused. Xiaofan took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Right at this moment. Suddenly, a dazzling light shot out from the ancient arena. This light extended in a straight line, enveloping Xiaofan and the others. Xiaofan and the rest of the immortals and mortals instinctively wanted to dodge, but they were locked in place by an inexplicable, enormous power. This feeling was extremely aggrieved. Soon, the light landed directly on Jia Lanzi's body. Moreover, this light was like a stream of water, directly dragging Jia Lanzi's body up. This? Jia Lanzi's expression was a little strange. Then, his heart shook. Could it be that the first match of this arena battle will be randomly selected, and I, Jia Lanzi, will fight? Just as Jia Lanzi's thoughts settled, another dazzling light shot out from the ancient arena. This dazzling light enveloped the body of one of the 42 participants in the arena battle. This mortal, like Jia Lanzi, was dragged up. The current situation was that Jia Lanzi and the mortal faced each other and were sent to the ancient arena by two rays of light. Above Jia Lanzi's head, 640,000 points. Above the mortal's head, 110,000 points. In fact, for a mortal to accumulate 110,000 points was already an extremely impressive thing. However, in front of an immortal, this little bit of points was still shabby. This mortal's body also flowed with the aura of controlling a magic treasure, but it was extremely weak. It was obvious that the magic treasure he had refined was not an extremely high-quality magic treasure. As for Jia Lanzi, his entire body was filled with immortal qi like a tidal wave, as if he was the king of the world. If Jia Lanzi were to fight this mortal, then it would not be a battle of the same level. As expected, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice rang out. In the first match of the arena battle, 2 participants have been randomly selected. Within 20 breaths, they will have a chance to avoid battle. After 20 breaths, if both sides give up the chance to avoid battle, it will be considered as agreeing to battle. Once in the arena, the battle will not end until one party is dead. As soon as he finished speaking, a light green rune appeared above Jia Lanzi and the mortals' heads. This was an ancient seal character, and it was indeed the words "avoid battle." Oh! Jia Lanzi looked at the words "avoid battle" above his head, then remained motionless as he calmly looked at the mortal. At this time, the mortal finally came to his senses. His face was bitter, and he almost wailed. Bad luck! Bad luck! My opponent is actually immortal Jia Lanzi. According to the legends, he's an important figure in the younger generation of the immortal world, a genius blessed by the heavens. Some of the immortals below also roared with laughter, ha 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 ha. I really didn't expect that Jia Lanzi's first opponent would be immortal. Ha ha ha. Isn't this an instant kill? Jia Lanzi also has the Tao of Luck. What Tao of Luck? Even if Jia Lanzi kills this mortal, he'll only get 110,000 points. Seeing this, Xiaofan also laughed involuntarily. The disparity between the strong and the weak in this first match of the arena battle of hegemony was too great. This caused the scene to have a dramatic effect. In an instant, the originally nervous crowd couldn't help but relax. In the void, the 20 breaths were about to end. The avoid battle characters above Jia Lanzi and the mortals' heads were growing fainter and fainter, about to disappear into nothingness. Finally, the mortals will moved, and he seemed to have used his mental power to touch the avoid battle characters above his head that were about to disappear. He said with a dark expression, Immortal Jia Lanzi, I'm not your match. If it were any other immortal, I would be willing to risk my life to battle, but since I'm facing you, forget it, boom. The avoid battle characters above the mortal's head suddenly ignited. And then, whoosh whoosh, the mortal's points suddenly plummeted. Moreover, the magical treasures in his dantian surged out densely and seeped into Jia Lanzi's dantian. In an instant, the mortal's points changed to 10,000. And Jia Lanzi's points changed to 740,000. Then, the light that was supposed to send the two to the arena suddenly turned back, causing the two to land on the ground where Xiaofan was. This battle ended with the mortal using the avoid battle. However, after this mortal used 100,000 points in exchange for a chance to avoid battle, he only had 10,000 points left. This way, he no longer had any way out. If he was picked randomly again, no matter who it was, he would have to fight. He no longer had the right to avoid battle. Xiaofan saw that the mortal's face was filled with regret, as though he finally regretted participating in the arena battle of supremacy. Mortals really can't afford to play. Mortals shouldn't stay behind to compete with immortals. There's no chance of luck. Fortunately, the sect master and senior brothers retreated early. Xiaofan secretly rejoiced in his heart. After dozens of breaths, whoosh, above the ancient arena, a dazzling light shot out once again, directly enveloping them. This time, Xiaofan and the people around him were prepared. Everyone knew that whoever was enveloped by the dazzling light would have to fight. Chapter 671. This was the last round of the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove, the arena battle. It had already begun. The rules were extremely simple. In the first round, Jia Lanzi was randomly selected to fight against a mortal. The result was self-evident. The mortal immediately activated immunity, allowing Jia Lanzi to win without a fight. Without shedding a drop of blood, he obtained 100,000 points and 1,000 magical treasures, causing his own points to reach 740,000. Of course, it was still a far cry from the 6 million points needed to exchange for a key to the third level. At this moment, the second round of battles was about to begin. On the ancient arena, the first dazzling light shot out. This dazzling light slowly enveloped over. It covered the top of Xiaofan and the rest, causing them to be unable to resist and could only let them choose. Fortunately, Xiaofan and the rest were somewhat used to this kind of selection. Dozens of gazes stared at this dazzling light. The muscles at the corner of their eyes were twitching, and their eyes were bloodshot. There were even people with bulging veins. Wait! Time seemed to suddenly slow down. Finally, this dazzling light descended. It arrived on Jia Lanzi's body. Oh, Jia Lanzi was stunned. His entire body was lifted by the dazzling light and floated in the air like before. In response, Jia Lanzi almost subconsciously blurted out, "Me again?" Jia Lanzi was completely stunned. In the first round of battles, during the random selection, the dazzling light had chosen Jia Lanzi. However, he never expected the second round. He still chose Jia Lanzi. That was strange, he was hit again and again. Not only Jia Lanzi. Even Xiaofan and the rest were dumbfounded. Brother Jia Lanzi's luck is really not bad. Xiaofan touched his nose, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. But very quickly, a thought flashed in Xiaofan's mind. It seems that there is a hidden rule in this arena battle. It is the random selection of each round. Indeed, there is no pattern. Even those who fought in the previous round. In the next round, they may fight again. Brother Jia Lanzi's current situation wasn't too bad. Although he had fought several times, his opponent had voluntarily avoided the previous battle, so Jia Lanzi hadn't lost any immortal energy. However, if they were in an extremely intense battle, they would lose a lot of energy. If he was chosen to fight again in the next round, it would not be good. That's right. Such a battle. There was a possibility of a situation where they would take turns to wear him down. No matter how powerful an expert is, in a battle of attrition, there is a possibility of failure and failure. Xiaofan immediately figured out the crux of the matter. Xiaofan understood this point, and the others naturally also thought of taking turns to wear him down. All of a sudden, the immortals and mortals standing next to Xiaofan wore expressions of joy and sorrow. Most of the powerful existences were slightly dissatisfied with this rule. They were also afraid that they would be unlucky and encounter a battle of attrition. Then, they would fall into a series of bitter battles and consume their energy. In the end, they would be taken advantage of by others. As for those who were weak to begin with, such as the few mortals, they were extremely happy. Because with the existence of the rule of taking turns to wear him down, they might be able to rely on luck to counterattack and turn the tables. For example, when an immortal was heavily injured, or even on his last breath, they could indeed successfully slaughter the immortal. Of course, even if there was an unreasonable rule like taking turns to wear him down, no one present dared to refute it. After all the rules here were set by Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Anyone who entered Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, even if they were immortal emperors, could only obey. As for Jia Lanzi, he was currently shrouded in dazzling light, floating in the void. His gaze swept over the people standing on Xiaohan's side. Jia Lanzi had completely stabilized his mind and accepted the rules of taking turns to wear him down. Jia Lanzi's body was surging with immortal light, and auspicious vapors were rising. As the immortal energy lingered, there were even phantoms of auspicious beasts and birds appearing around his body. Jia Lanzi's fighting spirit was also rising steadily. It was as if a deity had descended to earth. Everyone could not help but feel fear in their hearts when they saw this. None of them wanted to encounter Jia Lanzi at his peak in this round. Then, a second ray of dazzling light shot out from the ancient arena. It directly enveloped over. Jia Lanzi's opponent was about to be picked. Damn, Jia Lanzi is too fierce, please don't pick me, Jia Lanzi. Humph, whoever encounters him will die, unless they use battle immunity. Although I have refined a few powerful magical treasures, my chances of winning are indeed very low if I encounter Jia Lanzi now. If Jia Lanzi fights a few battles first, then I will have nothing to fear. Everyone was praying. In the blink of an eye, the second ray of dazzling light finally descended. It directly enveloped Xiaofan. Boom! Xiaofan was dragged up by the dazzling light. It can't be me. It's actually me. Xiaofan floated in the void in a daze, looking at Jia Lanzi in dismay. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Brother Jia Lanzi's opponent is actually me, Xiaofan. Xiaofan simply did not know whether to laugh or cry. At this moment, an uproar erupted from below. Great! Jia Lanzi is facing the mortal Xiaofan, this is really great. Jia Lanzi's strength naturally goes without saying, this Xiaofan has obtained 11 million points, he must also have a great secret in his hands. Now, these two have encountered each other, and both are injured. Once a situation where both of them are injured, it will be a great thing for us. Ha 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 ha, I favor Jia Lanzi. Once Jia Lanzi kills Xiaofan, he will obtain 11 million points. This way, he will not be too far away from exchanging for the third floor's key. As long as Jia Lanzi obtains the key first and does not participate in this battle, we will have one less strongest competitor. Ha ha ha. Yes, 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 Jia Lanzi is a god of plagues, let him leave early. For us, there are many advantages and no disadvantages. However, I heard that Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi have some friendship between them, could it be that the two of them? Nonsense. What is friendship? How deep can the friendship between immortals and mortals be? Xiaofan has more than 3 million points, does Jia Lanzi not want it? Humph. At this time, even blood brothers will not be able to avoid killing each other, amidst the clamor of discussion, above Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan's heads. The words "battle free" appeared above their heads. The countdown of 20 breaths began. Brother Jia Lanzi, Xiaofan looked at Jia Lanzi with a strange smile. Brother Jia Lanzi also did not know whether to laugh or cry. The two of them did not have any intention to fight at all. Brother Jia Lanzi, the two of us brothers, are we going to fight? Xiaofan teased. Brother Xiao, don't tease me. Ha ha ha. Jia Lanzi let out a laugh, and then, boom. Above Jia Lanzi's head, the words "battle free" suddenly burned. Very quickly, 100,000 points, 1,000 treasures. From Jia Lanzi's body, it surged into Xiaofan's body. Jia Lanzi actually took the initiative to use the battle free function. This way, Jia Lanzi's points returned to 640,000 points. As for Xiaofan's points, it rose to 21 million. Brother Jia Lanzi. What are you doing? Xiaofan was stunned for a moment, and then smiled. I was just about to use battle free, I did not expect Brother Jia Lanzi to be one step ahead of me. No matter who uses battle free, it's the same. Jia Lanzi smiled indifferently. Ha 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 ha, thank you for the points, Brother Jia Lanzi. Xiaofan cupped his hands and said. Suddenly, Jia Lanzi lowered his voice and said, Brother Xiao need not be so polite. Brother Xiao, you don't have to be so polite. If we really fight, I might not be your match." As soon as he finished speaking, the two of them returned to the ground. "What? You guys actually refuse to fight?" With this, the people below who were originally prepared to watch the tigers fight and reap the benefits showed their dissatisfaction, and they all growled, "Jia Lanzi, you are simply cheating. You chose to avoid the battle. With your strength, you actually chose to avoid the battle? Are you afraid of this, Xiaofan? You cheated. You are avoiding the battle. Jia Lanzi, you are too disappointing. You can clearly kill Xiaofan directly, but you chose to avoid the battle. You. As for the few mortals, they also looked at Xiaofan with jealousy and hatred. "Xiaofan, you brat, your luck is too good. Meeting the strongest Jia Lanzi, he actually let you go. Especially that mortal who chose to avoid the battle in the first round." He was even more jealous of Xiaofan as he gnashed his teeth and said, "Xiaofan, you bootlicker. You must have licked his toes and curried favor with Jia Lanzi, so he spared your life. Why don't I have such good luck? Also, the 100,000 points that I lost by avoiding the battle actually went to you, Xiaofan. You, Xiaofan, did not do anything and obtain the points that I risked my life to exchange for. I refuse to accept this." Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi completely ignored the clamor that resounded from all directions and were very indifferent. Very quickly, on the ancient arena, dazzling light shone again. The third round of battles began to be randomly chosen. The scene temporarily quietened down. Xiao, the first dazzling light flashed. It directly descended on Xiaofan. Xiaofan floated in the air. "Oh. Now it's my turn to take turns to fight?" Xiaofan was speechless. The second dazzling light shone very quickly. This time, the second dazzling light shone on Immortal. Coincidentally, this mortal was the one who had chosen to avoid the battle with Jia Lanzi in the first round. Boom! That mortal also floated in the air and faced Xiaofan. Xiaofan had 3.21 million points, that mortal had 10,000 points. "Oh? You? My opponent is you?" Xiaofan shook his head slightly disappointedly as he muttered to himself. 10,000 points, it's not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. As for that mortal, he looked somewhat fierce. Xiaofan. 3.21 million points. Roar. Xiaofan. If I encountered an immortal, I would definitely die. But, it's you, Xiaofan. We're all mortals, I might be able to fight you. You don't even have the qualifications to use the battle exemption now. You have too few points. Xiaofan shook his head slightly. Shut up. Against you, I have never thought of avoiding the battle. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan, as long as I defeat you and obtain your points, with some luck, it's not impossible for me to obtain the key to the third level. Ha ha ha. That mortal let out a shrill scream. 20 breaths passed. The words "battle free" above their heads had completely faded away. Xiao, finally, the two of them were sent to the arena. To be continued. Chapter 672. Up until now, in the third round of the arena hegemony battle, there had been no battles in the first two rounds, all to avoid ending in a battle. Ibdu. Finally, in the third round, the two sides didn't choose to avoid a fight. Below the stage, dozens of people focused their attention. Oh, a fight between two mortals is like a fight between two ants to us. It's not worth watching, but with Xiaofan here, we can see Xiaofan's combat power. Yes, this Xiaofan was able to stand out in the fourth zone, fight against the immortals, and slaughter them all. He must have a big secret. Even we can't see through this secret. Now that Xiaofan is about to make his move, we can peep into Xiaofan's secret. In the end, a mortal is just a mortal. As long as we can see through his secrets and grasp his flaws, it will be extremely easy for us to kill him. Now, let's see if Xiaofan's opponent can force him to use his trump card. I'm afraid that Xiaofan's opponent isn't strong enough. 10,000 points, that's a joke. No, Xiaofan's opponent also refined a low-level magic treasure. He won't be that easy to deal with, in the arena. Xiaofan. Xiaofan's opponent, the mortal with 10,000 points, became even crazier. All the pores on his body opened up, emitting beams of multicolored light. It was clear that he had refined an immortal artifact on his body. Xiaofan. I recognize you. The mortal roared with a fierce glint in his eyes. Oh. Xiaofan's aura was as calm as an ancient well. He was slightly taken aback. I also participated in the exploration of the Genius Zone. You were extremely glorious. You became the #1 genius of our mortal world. Later on, you swept everything. You killed a mortal tower master as if you were a pig. At that time, you were like the sun in the sky. If I had met you back then, I would have died a horrible death. Then, you entered the 4th zone of the 2nd level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure and obtained a huge amount of points. You must have had a fortuitous encounter. However, I didn't leave empty-handed in the preliminaries. I also had a fortuitous encounter. I also refined a magic treasure. Xiaofan, I am no longer afraid of you. You are a legend in the mortal world. Your rise will even attract the attention of immortals. But today, I will personally destroy this legend of yours. I will replace your position in the mortal world. As he spoke, the mortals' battle intent and essence, energy, and spirit continued to rise. Hey, you talk a lot, but it's all nonsense. Xiaofan was still very calm. He didn't even move his aura. Die. A magic treasure. Flood Dragon Mirror. The mortal had made his move. Boom. Countless strands of immortal light rose, and a misty mist floated above the heads of the mortals. Within the rolling mist, the roars of ancient beasts burst forth. Pooh! A section of the flood dragon's giant claw directly reached out from the clouds. This giant claw seemed to be tearing space apart. Destroy everything. Then, a ferocious flood dragon head also emerged. Roar! The ancient pressure covered the sky and covered the earth. Below the stage. What a great magical treasure. This mortal's luck is not bad. Not only is this magical treasure invincible among mortals, but it can even defeat ordinary level 1 and level 2 true immortals, and even kill them. No wonder he dared to challenge Xiaofan like that. He is indeed qualified. Many of the immortals secretly commented when they saw the mortal's attack. It seems that this time, Xiaofan has no choice but to use some tricks to defeat his opponent. Good. In this way, we can see Xiaofan's trump card clearly through this battle. In the arena, the flood dragon still broke through the mist and directly attacked Xiaofan. Wind and clouds swirled, and thunder and lightning interweaved. It was also very powerful. All of a sudden, Xiaofan was in the center of the storm, like a small boat in the middle of a huge wave. It seemed like the boat could be destroyed at any time. Xiaofan. Go to hell. All the points will be taken by me. The mortal seemed to have already seen the scene of the flood dragon tearing Xiaofan into pieces. At this moment, Xiaofan only moved his divine will slightly. Swoosh! A soul-mind energy dagger directly shot out. This dagger's attack speed was far faster than the flood dragon's. Moreover, the dagger did not attack the flood dragon at all. Instead, it directly attacked the mortal. The attack arrived first. Bang! The mortal did not even have the chance to dodge. His body was directly destroyed by Xiaofan's mind energy dagger. His body exploded instantly. With a roll of light, he turned into ashes. Until his death, he did not understand why he attacked first, but Xiaofan's attack arrived first and killed him instantly. After losing control of the flood dragon, it immediately dissipated and turned into a bronze mirror. With a clatter, it fell to the ground. Instant kill. It was a effortless instant kill. Swoosh! The mind energy dagger returned to Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. Xiaofan smiled slightly. The next moment, 10,000 points and the last 100 magical treasures in the mortal's body flowed into Xiaofan's body, causing Xiaofan's points to reach 3.22 million. The dazzling light flashed again, sending Xiaofan out of the arena. The spectators below the arena were all dumbfounded. Originally, everyone thought that the battle between Xiaofan and the mortal would not be too easy. At the very least, he would have to expose some of his trump cards and secrets in order to kill his opponent. However, they never expected that in an instant, he would be able to kill his opponent first even though he attacked later. It was too easy. Even when he killed his opponent, Xiaofan did not have any intention to fight at all. His aura was completely calm. It was as easy as brushing off dust. Even many of the immortals present felt that they were inferior to such a method. Many pairs of eyes widened. They looked at Xiaofan in surprise. At the same time, in the arena battle, in the third round, there were still 41 participants left. 36 immortals. 5 mortals. As for their respective points, there wasn't much of a change. This guy's attack speed is very fast. Could it be that his trump card is fast attacks? He seems to have mastered a level 2 immortal dagger that has an attack speed as fast as lightning. No. The quality of that dagger can almost break the defense of an ordinary level 3 perfected immortal. Discussions broke out everywhere. Xiaofan seemed to turn a deaf ear to them as he quietly watched the arena. As for Jia Lanzi, he seemed to have expected Xiaofan to have such a move. Hence, he only smiled at Xiaofan. There was almost no time to rest. The fourth round of the arena battle. Begin. 2 dazzling lights shot out from the ancient arena again. This time, the dazzling lights did not land on Jia Lanzi or Xiaofan. Instead, they randomly chose 2 immortals. Among these 2 immortals, one of them had 930,000 points above his head, while the other had accumulated through the free-for-all round and had 2.35 million points above his head. It could be said that this was a heavyweight battle. It attracted everyone's attention, including Xiaofan's. Naturally, neither of these 2 immortals chose to avoid the battle. They both wanted to kill their opponents in the arena and obtain a large number of points. In the arena, the battle started instantly. This was a life-and-death battle between 2 powerful immortals. Xiaofan watched the battle intently. For a moment, the arena was filled with immortal spells, immortal light, and auspicious colors. Vortexes were everywhere, and space exploded. The 2 immortals fought until the sky darkened. In the end, both immortals took out the peerless immortal weapons that they had previously refined. In the end, the immortal with 930,000 points blasted the immortal with 2.35 million points into pieces. Before the immortal with 2.35 million points died, he roared with resentment and resentment. I can't accept this. I just obtained the power of refinement and didn't have time to refine that powerful Dharma treasure. If I had more time, I wouldn't have died here today. How regretful. In the end, the immortal with 930,000 points skyrocketed to 3.28 million after killing his opponent. Ha 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 ha, he teleported back in high spirits. The immortals in all directions were once again shaken by the ferocious battle and envious of the immortal's current points. TSK, his points broke through to more than 3 million in an instant. Impressive. If he's lucky and wins another round, he might get a key. The immortal didn't waste any more words after returning. He immediately sat down cross-legged and took out a medicinal pill to replenish the immortal chi he'd used up in the previous battle. He seized the time to adjust his breathing. The fourth round of the arena tournament of hegemony had ended. There were only 40 people left. Whoosh whoosh, dazzling lights shot out from the ancient arena, announcing the start of the fifth round. Of the two dazzling lights, one landed on the immortal who just defeated his opponent and gained a vast amount of points, while the other went for Xiaofan. Me again? Xiaofan blurted out as the dazzling lights dragged him up. As for the immortal, after swallowing some elixirs, he recovered a little from his weakened state after the fierce battle. 22 million points hovered above Xiaohan's head. 28 million points hovered above the immortal's head. The two of them faced each other. This was definitely a super heavyweight battle. Both of them had more than 3 million points. The lowest requirement to enter the third level was 6 million points. In other words, no matter who won, they would bid farewell to the arena tournament of hegemony and directly enter the third level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. This was a battle that would decide their future. Brother Xiao, you have to win this battle. Even Jia Lanzi was sweating for Xiaohan below the stage. After all, Xiaohan's opponent, the Immortal, had extremely fierce combat power. Although he'd fought a tough battle and hadn't recovered to his peak, the Dharma treasure he controlled was too powerful. At this moment, the seal characters that said "Battle Pass" appeared above Xiaohan and the Immortal's heads, but neither of them used it. Ha 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 ha. Xiaohan. The Immortal glared at Xiaohan. I didn't expect to meet you. Others might be afraid of you, but I'm not. You still have some time to use Battle Pass. I heard that you have the means to kill immortals. I want to see how you do it. Heh. Xiaohan shook his head slightly. Not good. Oh? What's not good? The Immortal said fiercely. You've already fought a battle and haven't recovered yet. If I kill you now, it'll be an unfair victory. Xiaohan said seriously. Arrogant. The Immortal roared at the sky. Xiaohan, you're courting death. Xiaohan's words caused the spectating immortals to hiss in disgust. At this moment, the seal characters above Xiaohan and the immortals' heads faded and disappeared. The two of them were instantly sent to the arena. Xiaohan, you have no chance of Battle Pass. The Immortal said coldly. Just now, I killed that mortal in one move. Now, I'll kill you in one move too, Xiaohan said casually. To be continued.